Okay, so how did... Alright, okay, that's channel 4, right? Turn that right up. So how do you turn on the mic to speak? The word mic. Right. Live link, is that it? Autopilot, external, CD, or... I didn't see anything saying that. I see channel 432 on 1, and channel 1 is on. External mixer, vid CD. Okay, well, let's hope for the best. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the universe. Welcome to Genesis Radio and the People's Talk Show with Heru and Sista Dion. You're in tune to genesisradio.co.uk. Heru is slightly delayed, so we're going to carry on playing some music until he arrives. You're in tune to genesisradio.co.uk. Thank you.
Can't control this fire.
Yeah, saddle up.
Burning in my emotions.
You're in tune to
You're making me scream.
Genesis Radio.
When I don't have a notion.
And a big shout out to all the massive got themselves hooked up via the Facebook.
These precious moments here with you. Good.
Okay. Yeah, let me just set things up here. Yes, test, that's better. Yeah. You're in tune to the Genesis Radio People's Talk Show. It's that time of day. Some diversions happening today. I'm puffing and puffing, to a little bit of walking. The buses were on diversion. Yeah, so here we are again, once again, the People's Talk Show. And you know the numbers. If you don't, let me give it to you now and take it down now. So just in case it doesn't get mentioned many times as it should, numbers are 07931 27 62 and a 32. And I repeat, 07931 27 62 and a 32. You can also text in on that number. You're in tune to the People's Talk Show alongside Sista Dion. How are you doing?
I'm cool as a cucumber now.
Cool is the right word. What's this left for me?
No, that's my water.
Okay, right.
I'll get you one in a moment. Just saying, rise up against the universe. We've been through some traumas this week, and it's more than likely going to come up on the People's Talk Show. So once Heru has started, then I guess the numbers are again 07931 276232. Heru's going to start off first, so please don't start calling in immediately. Once he's finished, then we can go into any subject you like. Yes.
Well, actually, we wanted to do the talk of the day. We know what's the talk of the day. Last week, was it? It started. When we woke up in the morning and I saw that towering inferno, I thought, was this a joke?
Did you see the V? There was a V in it.
Yes, but serious, folks. But before I do, what I want to do, I think is in line for us to try and give a minute silence just for those people who were affected.
Who lost their lives, and the family and friends who are waiting for news of their loved ones.
Yeah, and those that were, still traumatized by the event. So I want, what time? Who are we? 51. Yeah, so we we want to start a minute silence for those that are, affected by those who died and those who are affected. Okay, yeah. Yeah, well, as I was saying, it's a tragedy that I think affect the
Welcome to Genesis.
whole community.
Is it on? No, it wasn't because I edited it here.
Right, yeah, we want to...
This person keeps calling up and being abusive.
a mad person, okay.
That's just not what you need to hear today.
No, not really. If we don't want, yeah, and please...
So if you turn it off, then I'll take the calls, and then can you turn it on after?
No, you can't.
You can't?
No, you just have... We just have to vet, we have to do it. We go straight in.
It goes straight...
Yeah.
We don't really want that.
Well, as soon as he comes, we'll cut him off anyway, if it's him, you know what I mean? Because right now it's a serious time. We don't want any abuse on the radio today. I mean, not to say that we want to dampen anyone's spirit of expressing things emotionally, but it can be done with respect. And I know that, there's a lot of... it has affected the whole community, this event. I think not only just those that are involved, but even those of us, like there are times when you want to be happy and things like that, but there's always that overarching event that comes up, presents itself, and then there's a mixture of sadness and happiness, you know what I mean? And because we are not in it, we can only assume or speculate on how the people that are directly involved feel. I try to put myself in that position. Like this morning, I sort of try to imagine, because I've always got this fear for high-rise flats anyway. Few friends live in there, and when I'm in there, I do feel so uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Say any minute now, this section of the building is going to collapse. I'm going to be flying out down the window, and there's all that fear. You know what I mean? So, so I imagined if it was me, like, what would I do? I'm already scared of heights, and I'm thinking if I had a choice between the fire, trying to fight the fire, making my way down to escape the fire, rather than attempt to even jump off if you're living on the top floor of some couple of 100 feet. And I thought, wow, that must be some dilemma to be faced with. It's easy for us who are not actually involved, who may be hundreds of miles away, or even away from the event, and life actually goes on. And you're thinking, yeah, but it really has affected the community on a level I think that's never been done before. In a sense that it's made us realise that we're all one. And I'm thinking, maybe had we realised this a long time ago, then maybe Britain would be a different place, and she would have a different consciousness. But now, whether you're black, green, orange, if you're Muslim, you're Christian, everybody has to feel it for those people.
Cutting in and out.
Cutting in and out. Okay. Let me see if I can sort this cutting in and out thing. One sec, folks. Well, what am I doing here? Right. You hear me? I hope you can hear me now. I hope I still ain't cutting in and out. Just text me and let me know if I made that any better. So what I'm saying is that the event has gelled people together. It has gelled communities from, all over. Is that because the battery's going on this? I'm just looking. It was that thing that should be there. Let's try this. One sec, folks. I'm trying to set up things here. There's a piece missing out of this jigsaw puzzle. Is that it over there?
Where?
What's it down there? Right, we're just trying to set up the link so everything will be okay. No, the other side. Yeah, a minute. This side. Oh, the other side then. Right, yeah, so, it shouldn't take this event to gel us together as a community and as humans, but it's not to say that we weren't trying to sort anything out. Charger.
It's a charger.
Put it in there.
It's plugged in.
That's a charger.
But it needs charging. So
That's it.
yeah, it's going to be red.
It's supposed to be blue, isn't it? Yeah. Right, folks.
It should be natural.
Trying to get some chargers here on the phone. I don't want you to ring up and we can't have no calls.
I think the phone's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the phone's fine. It's
Well,
live big. That's not
Yeah.
fine.
Well, charge it up then. See what happens.
Well, it's that buzzing noise.
Okay, go on. Then. Put it in there. It was green a while ago. See, it's gone blue now. It's okay. It's flashing blue. It's all right. I don't think it needs charging. Right, yeah, so what we're going to be discussing today, we're going to be discussing the effect of the event on us as a community. And to, I know that other people would love to have their say and how you feel and how it is we are feeling. If you ask me the question, how am I feeling? I'm feeling really sad at the moment still and apprehensive. As I said, I was trying to think of myself. If I was caught up into that, or any of my family members were caught up into it, I would sort of thinking, boy, I don't know how I'd feel right now. So we're going to leave the lines open for you to express your ideas and feelings, and maybe you want to say condolences as we go along, and we will be trying to make sense of all of this. All the questions have been asked, all the theories have been put forward, even the conspiracy theories, if there is such a thing, and ideas. And I did a little bit of research, and I wanted to sort of think about the history of the high rise. You know what I mean? It said, Dion, you got your glasses, no? I mean, on this phone here, maybe you can read out the. Come here, you. I got a history. I was looking at. Oh, this phone is playing me up. Oh, God, shit.
You know.
Yeah.
Even though.
Okay.
Welcome to Genesis. You're live on the People's Talk Show.
Oh, hello, Heru, and brother Heru, Sister Dion. Hello.
Yeah,
Greetings.
Yeah, go on. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying, so you faded there, but now I think you got the lines, and I'm recording the show as well. Yeah. About the fire, the Glenfield fire. You heard, I just was listening to another community radio station, and there's the one manager and another one sister talking, and I was listening to it, and I couldn't believe that the Prime Minister of Prime Ministers, Theresa May, doesn't seem to show sympathy, or doesn't seem to have to visit the loved ones and the lost. You know, imagine if my family was in that fire, or one of my family, I'll be upset. I'll be devastated. You know.
I hear you, Bertrand.
And not just that. I mean, I'm going to intertwine this. Now, I know it's a People Talk Show. It says what it says in the tin. First of all, when she was in office, things have been cut left, right, centre. Left, right, centre. They're cutting back things. I'm a disabled man. Yeah. And I've lost one eye. Now I'm starting, my other eye is deteriorating. I could not believe that things support for people, even holiday schemes for disabled people have been cut. She didn't sympathise for that. There's other things she didn't even sympathise. People write letters. She probably, I'm assuming, rip it up or not sympathise. This Glenfield Tower, however, she didn't sympathise for this. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Now people are being outraged now, and she barely got in her car. Now, what does it take for people, really, does it take people to be upset so much that they will, because then there's going to be Boris Johnson want to be Prime Minister, or I don't think Boris Johnson will get in, but there'll be a different Prime Minister who could even be worse. People are getting expelled out of schools, she doesn't care. This Glenfield Tower, she doesn't care. What else is going to happen for her to really care? Because I'm saying, look, I know that I go deep in things. I know that I'm the one that care, but I thought people said to me, oh, you're selfish, you care about yourself. But you know what? There are people right now who have been, we hear about only Glenfield Tower, but there have been people who has been in the fire, has lost their mum, dad, and father, and then they got so mad that they had to be put away in Maudsley, and they're disabled, just like I am. There are people probably out there who've gone in mental institutions. She didn't care about them. Who's she going to care about right now? And that's why it's bursting inside me, and I'm angry to feel that, it's a nice sunny afternoon, yeah, but it seems to be raining. Like, I seem that it's going to get harder for everyone out there. And my condolences go out there, yeah? And the thing is, they're saying that in America, they could have this fire brigade, could have the equipment. And years ago, if I remember this right, there were soldiers, soldiers went out to Iraq, right? This is what they got on the news. ITV, I think it was ITV or something like that. Don't get me wrong if anyone has the article. And it said in big letters, ITV banned, because they showed that, like, the soldiers with the body armor, they were wearing the body armor. It was shared by somebody else. It was shared, and it's a bit old, like, and then they showed for. So basically, right now, believe it or not, I'm going to say this information. I'm not going to stay too long. They've also brought in the link tax, the European Parliament. Now, this ain't in the European Parliament because they Brexited, but they put in the link tax. Link tax is basically this. If you share something like a conspiracy, or if you try to expose, they will, or link to an article that exposes it, they can have your tax. If you share a song, for example, and I don't agree with their copyright policies, or, for example, they will tax you more for that. They're going to give hefty sentences, even like for the truth. I know it's wrong to share some, but they're going over the top with all these things. Believe you, trust me, I am actually down. And I have to explain to YouTube people, this, when he's talking in the middle of the car. So many things that I have to do to put these shows on YouTube. And you understand what I'm saying is, like, my voice ain't getting heard. So how those people in Glenfield now, their voice is going to get heard? Because they're going to be pushed away.
Well, we're going to see, because what they're saying now is that enquiry. Obviously, inquiry is going to have to be had.
That's not going to be doing nothing. Don't, because they had inquiries. Believe you me. Remember those politicians that were, how do you say? There were some politicians that were abusing the young kids, and that. You know what happened? They pushed that away. They didn't go to jail for it. So think about this. If they don't go to jail, even the MP scandal didn't go into jail. Some of the MPs were stealing the money. So they're not going to go to jail. So it's all going to be pushed away. Lessons must be learned. Lessons must be learned. I tried to inquire. I tried to phone one of the parties, and say, why did you cut our speaking up out? Because now our organisation's gone. And we was going to deal with safety. Because this Glenfield fire happened, we was going to go, next Wednesday, probably, if our organisation, and we could have had a new subject called safety. For everybody. It doesn't matter if you're black or Chinese or white or thing. Safety. And now they've cut ours down. Now we're closed down.
We're going to see, because you have to have an inquiry anyway, regardless whether we think that the inquiry is going to be any use. But somebody's got to be accountable for this, and I've heard people calling for the corporate manslaughter. Everyone in the government then, or all governments then,
would be involved.
Would have to be implemented in this. You see what I'm saying? So, it's one thing calling for the heads to roll, but it's going to roll. But at the end of the day, it's not going to bring anything back, is it? Really, when you think about it. But
no, it's not going to bring anything back. But my argument to you is the cross argument here. It won't bring anything back, but in future lessons will be learned. Now, when there was the election things, the election fraud, and basically the right Prime Minister didn't come in. I wanted Dwayne Brooks to become the mayor, but supposedly that didn't take a lesson. People were signing petitions saying that we want a fairer election, but it's still, there's so many different things. So lessons, it won't bring the person back, but there will be lessons learned. We want a Prime Minister that can actually care for his or her people, that can, care for the people, instead of caring for the huge I'm not talking about the super rich, are the corporations, the gun manufacturer corporations. They make millions of money out there. They make billions and billions of money. Yeah, it's not even the rich it's the super rich, and these are the corporations, and they have houses everywhere. It's the mega people that she's looking out. She seems to be looking out for.
Okay, let's see.
So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, enough respect.
But if I bring up another topic or something that, because I could phone up, but I don't know.
Okay, all right.
On you. You are the bosses.
Yeah, man. Enough respect, Bertrak. Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah, respect. Now this is it, folks. There's nothing we can do anyhow to bring these people back and to reverse the situation, but at least we can talk about social justice here, and we're going to proportion blame on governments. We're going to have to also call into question the whole policy of governmental policy and the whole idea, because we can put it down to the cuts and what we call it austerity, right? Where they made all the arguments to cut fire workers and the whole nine yards, police and all that, and they're still threatening some more cuts because the austerity is not over. And we speak about the stinking rich, who really and truly, that's what everything's based around, isn't it? We can't, it's all about the rich people, and our problems have become their problems, and their problems is what we call social problems. That's how it is. I don't know who we're going to argue with as far as that is concerned, and then the only thing that's going to be left to us then is a revolution.
Oh dear. Like
unto France then. If we don't like, this is what I like to know. And we know exactly that it's geared around the rich people and their inability to share the wealth equally amongst us, and the gap between the rich and the poor obviously is getting wider and wider and wider. So what they've made happen is that their problems are becoming our problems, and we're trying to prise some of the money out of their hands a little bit to give a little bit more. But the problem is, do they want us to become affluent? This is the thing, just as they are. Can everyone be affluent? So the question is, where do you proportion blame? If that's the right thing to do at this time, I know at this time it's a sad time for the people, but somebody needs to have accountability. Maybe we can't hold the whole of the parliamentary makeup of Parliament to task, and to say, well, if we're going to go to jail, I hear somebody calling for people to go to jail, call it corporate manslaughter. And there's somebody something on the YouTube about this brother was saying, yeah, they all have to be held. The whole government have to go to jail. Somebody has to go to jail for this. And amongst all these conspiracy theories, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. People are saying, I mean, what I want to know is really and truly, if there is such a people that would actually plan the death of so many people, if that's what the conspiracy theorists are trying to say, my mind quickly goes back to the Titanic. When you look at the Titanic, how many people died on the Titanic? A whole heap of people died on the Titanic, and now they're saying that it wasn't an accident. It was an insurance job. You see? So what are we faced with here? You're telling me, the conspiracy theorists are telling me that actually there's a group of people that's going to sit down and plot the death of other humans? Is that where we are in the scheme of things?
Can I just interject there, Heru? You're forgetting that the filthy rich don't see us as human beings. We shouldn't even breathe the same air. Is that not one of the Plato said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
and was it Antonin? What's her name?
Who?
Queen
Antoinette.
Antoinette. What did she say?
French Revolution.
She
let
said,
them eat cake.
So what should we do with the poor, madam? He said, let them eat cake.
She didn't say which cake, so it could be air cake.
Yeah. So are we saying then, from the time that we've been growing up as a people, we've accepted this then, that the rich will dictate to us policies and whatever we need to, and it's down to their handouts. I mean, where does this fit in the scheme of things? And because then it's unsolvable.
It's not unsolvable.
I think it's definitely unsolvable.
It's unsolvable because it's solvable once we understand where things are coming from. Like, for instance, democracy is a consultative form of dictatorship. Democracy is a consultative form of dictatorship. Are you getting that? They only tell you about what they plan to do and offer you different options, all of which boil down to the same thing.
Really?
So yes, that's what democracy is. It's a consultative form of dictatorship.
Okay, but are we to accept then that the rich dictates? Because all of this is going to go right back to that,
We do
Cutting
it by consent.
all this.
It's by consent. We consent to it. Good afternoon. You're live on genesisradio.co.uk. Welcome to the People's Talk Show.
Yeah, go ahead, caller. Hello, caller, you there? Sorry, just about coming through. Hold on a minute. I don't know what's happening here.
Maybe if you plug that out. Yeah, that's good. Welcome to the People's Talk Show. You're live on Genesis.
Can hardly hear you, bro. Yeah, go on. Still, it sounds very low. Go on. I don't know what's happened there. I just can't pick you up. Now, caller, you just ain't coming through. He's talking, but I can't hear.
Maybe he calls by accident. Maybe he's terminating. Sounds like he's talking to someone else.
Oh, so. Yeah, well, call back. You're not saying anything. Maybe it's an accident.
We can only be governed by consent, Heru. And even though we don't know that we have a choice, we do.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's bring it back down to what's happening today. Because that's going to be involved in the argument anyway. I know that. But let's taking it a bit nearer to home. Because, so who are we going to say are to be blamed for this? Now, the austerity cuts. Now, if we found that the policies that were, given by this government caused this death, then should the government that caused the death or whose watch it was on pay with their own freedom? I hear people talking like this. I hear people talking like all the politicians. There should be...
It's not going to happen.
You reckon it's not going to happen?
It's not about a reckoning. It's not going to happen.
Why not?
Because it's a corporate identity. There is no person, human being then, if you like, at the top who you can actually sanction, whose liberty can be taken away.
Yes, the government's liberty. The people that
the government are... The named head of the party, if you like, is not even Theresa May. There is no party. There's a party, but there's no leader. Welcome to genesis.co.uk.
You're live
on the People's Talk Show. It's that idiot. It's that idiot.
63.
I don't know if it's 63 or not.
Okay, yeah, there now. The sun's getting to somebody's head there. Can't handle the sun.
He couldn't wait to get online to express his angst.
Yeah,
now,
okay.
there's a person with a scrambled hypothalamus for us.
Yeah, so
early.
What I'm thinking. I'm thinking whether it, I'm thinking a minute 6-3.
So let's
yeah, I'm thinking that if the people that are in power can escape responsibility, then why do we put them in power every so often? I'm sure that if they were like human. And they have accepted their offices, and their offices have failed to produce any safety. Because I want to know how many times was that building inspected for fire hazards and this regular inspection and stuff like that. Okay, unknown number. I'll take this call here. You're live on Genesis.
Yeah, greetings, Brother Heru. Greetings, Brother Sister Dion. How are you doing today?
Greetings, Makeda, love. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Excellent show, as usual. Yeah, it's the tragedy what's going on with this fire business, boy. It's like they don't even care about us, boy. I think it's corporate murder, personally, but that's just my personal opinion.
Well, it would appear to be that way, and if it's corporate, we've got to understand that corporations don't really exist. Their names on papers, the people behind them are so well disguised. It will take years before anyone is actually prosecuted. And sorry, go ahead, sister.
No, I was just sorry. I didn't mean to cut you, sis. But I was just thinking that when we check it, it's the rich people there, isn't it? Yeah, where it's like Ladbroke Grove falls under that kind of borough. But it's places where that people have money, yeah. But it's just poor people that die. You know what I'm saying? To me, it just seems like some sacrificial.
Wow.
Ritual.
So are you saying, sister, it's a bit more like social cleansing?
Yes, definitely. Purging is more the
so
right
this is what I was trying to get, because I'm thinking, is it really true that people will sit down, right, and plan the death of innocent people like that, and then in your face?
Yeah, but guess what? I mean, we've got a track record of these people's history towards us as it is. So it should come as no surprise, really. I mean, I think what the emphasis is, they're trying to, this is why you're not really getting the proper reading, is because they're trying to make sure that the same vibration that we felt as people that are finding out about it are not carried into the next couple of weeks. Do you understand? So there's a big, massive cover-up as well. I heard it's like 3 babies that died. And it's over 600 people.
That's right, about 600 people.
And remember, these people have been literally incinerated. So all you're going to get as evidence that they actually ever existed is their teeth. You understand?
Yes,
so,
that's right.
You understand? And a lot of people, as we know, are illegal immigrants. And there's a lot of Muslims that died.
That's
And,
right.
not everybody would be registered.
Right.
So I just smell foul play. That's just, my contribution, because it's not really rocket science, because as I said, they've got a track record in history of not really dealing with us on a level which is humane as it is. So I wouldn't be surprised that if this wasn't one big, dirty, great sacrificial ritual against.
Wow.
And look, there was the other fire in not Stockwell, in
Camberwell.
Peckham, Camberwell, a few years back.
Yes, I
6
remember
people
that.
died.
Yes, in a tower block. I remember that.
Do you remember that one?
I do. It wasn't as intense as this one, but it was bad.
Not by comparison
there's
at
6
all.
people died in that one as well.
But people did pass away.
And now they're back in there. But see, what I'm trying to say is this, right? I mean, what are we saying then? If that is a real case, that there are people that sit down and they're going to plan the death of innocent people by, because a lot of Muslims and ethnic people in that building, but no one's ever mentioned the role of that brother whose flat it was said that's supposed to have started in.
Yeah, the one
he said it was. They say it was a fridge
that exploded.
Well, apparently, sorry, I'm not cutting this Dion. Why, according to what I was hearing, is that he told somebody that his fridge blew up, but he had time to sort of like pack his belongings and get out of the building.
But he went around and he went around knocking the doors and telling everybody that there's a fire there, and he
but he managed to get out. This is my point. I mean, apparently, from the 12th floor up, because I think it was 24 floors.
Yeah.
They were literally cremated. So, I mean, but he managed to get out. His family's safe or whatever.
Yeah, but how come he's not been interviewed? How come we ain't seen anything of him?
How come he's not out?
Perhaps he's on a guilt trip. I don't know.
No. Because don't forget, if the authorities knew that this brother was where it started, I'm sure he would be the star of the show. Because
I'm suspecting foul play.
No. I'm sure he would be the star of the show.
He should be.
I'm sure he would have his face on TV.
He would be evidently not. He's evidently not. What does that mean?
That's what I'm saying to you.
But also,
is this story real though?
That's what I kind of thought.
How come the authorities haven't got all of?
There was a guy. Well, I think the story is real because there was a guy on the television saying that, like, he came to him, as you said, he was going around knocking the doors and told him that it was his fridge. I think it was a fitted kitchen. It just blew up. Yeah, I mean, I've never ever heard of nothing so absurd. What do you mean?
Yeah, but hold on, hang on a minute. There again, there's no way. I mean, he should have gone to the police, right, and said it started in my flat, right? Because then the police wouldn't want to know. How come they know? That means they must know where the fire started for them to say. I don't know if it was the police that said, or the fire investigators said it was started from a fridge. Or is that just propaganda? I don't know.
Heard nothing like that. But I do know this: the fire brigade are the only people that are actually, honest enough to be telling the truth.
Well, there's another lady that said the fire didn't start in the block; it started outside the block.
Well, my friend was telling me about how it just looked like they sprayed the bloody place with petrol.
No, man, come on. See, this is what I'm saying. So we're not really ruling out terrorism here, then, are we? Really?
No.
But I mean,
I don't think, because you know what? If it's terrorism, remember, it's mainly Muslims that live in the building. Okay, 80%, right? Right, at least, or ethnic minorities or majorities, right?
Yeah.
So why would you be attacking yourself? It doesn't make any sense.
But I know, that's true.
But the thing is, terrorists come in all shapes, colours, and sizes. So that's not even a thing, because they don't.
Well, if it is terrorist, sorry, my sister, I'm not cutting you, but I'm just saying, if it is terrorist, I mean, they are definitely, going to allude it to some Muslims. You understand? Because those are who, according to the world, who's attacking the world. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the Muslims that we're up against, allegedly. You understand? It doesn't make no sense. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
But that would be assuming that that Muslims then, if you like, were attacking each other.
That's my point. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
Well, that's why I'm saying that. That's why I'm going back to the point that terrorists come in all shapes, colours, and sizes. Just because the media makes it out to be one particular type, it doesn't mean that's true. You've got sick people everywhere.
But I mean, come on, man. These people are very, very conscious when it comes to their God, and they're very, they religiously, love their God, how it look, right? It doesn't make any sense for them to it's
attack like themselves.
Allegedly, when the what attack was it? Was it the Manchester attack when there was a bomb that went off? Yeah, in the concert. Apparently there was some rumours saying that they said they're not targeting black people. So if they've got people that they're selecting, that they're targeting, to me it doesn't make any sense if they're going to go and target themselves. I swear, it just sounds a bit off.
Well, let's see. But as I said, until that person I don't know where to get this story from, that somebody said it started in their kitchen and he was fighting the fire and he couldn't probably get it out, so he went about and he could have phoned the ambulance. He could have phoned fire brigade straight away, innit? If you can't,
definitely.
if you can't put a fire out, then obviously you're gonna have to engage the fire brigade. But most of these flats are built with high risers. You see what I'm saying? Because I used to do a bit of security myself, and they don't have a ladder to reach the height, so they've got a high dry riser which to put the fire, plug it in there, and it goes through all the flats. We don't even know if that was working, because I understand that the fire alarms wasn't working, right? You know what I mean? And
they had no sprinklers, nothing. Listen to this. Sorry, I'm not cutting you, brother, but I personally believe that there's a lot of things going on that we don't see at the moment, and I think that in the meantime, there's going to be a whole lot of different stories coming out,
That's right, which is why we should remain calm, because we don't actually know exactly what's happened.
And also what I believe, is that, you see, because a lot of people went down to the town to protest, you can see the energy, like I used to say, people want to start rioting or whatever, but you see, if that ever happens, it's going to give this corporate energy a reason to declare martial law, and we'll see, like, army tanks, like, on the streets of London, you understand, saying that we have to, manage the people.
No, well, you know what, sis, what came to my mind as well is that this could be a prerequisite to getting people out of London. Because what's going to happen now is, and I asked Dion to read a little bit of history about the tower blocks, and they were built in the 18th century, just after the war. To accommodate the housing problems, which was scums and all that. Not scums, just
undesirable.
Housing wasn't right proper, so they built these buildings to make things better. But at the end of the day, now they're looking maybe to destroy all of the high rises that are around now. Well, you see what I'm saying? Rather than talking about putting sprinklers in and all that kind of thing, because that ain't going to help nothing. You know what I mean?
I heard that there's a whole lot of people that, since it happened, was down to housing saying they want to be removed.
Yeah, of course. The thing is,
that flood the councils had. But I was speaking to a lady in America just last night. She's all the way in America. And she's saying to me that she reckons that what they're doing is trying to take the land back, from the people. This is another kind of gentrification, but in a different form.
Gentrification.
But, yes, I personally believe that there's something suspect. I just, as I said, there's a track record that these people have with us. And remember, we've just been awarded another Tory government, Wow. So, I mean, it's not...
but the biggest thing is, right, once they... take all the tower blocks down, and then the situation that caused them to be built in the first place would reoccur, and then that will give them the reason now. Well, we all can't. I think end of the day, it's going to be boiling down to too much people in London, England. This is what's going to come to as well. All those little haters now are going to get their little. They're
trying to sweep the poor people out of London anyway.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Yeah. So this could be a way when they're going to get their desires, because right now, if they've got to pull all the tower blocks down in and around London, then everyone is going to be short of housing. There's too much, because we all can't fit. I mean, because we're all up in the sky, innit? So that's okay. Yeah. But if you all came down on Earth, right, there wouldn't be enough area and space. We're like rats in a cage. So they're probably
it is already,
they're going to be probably thinking, well, the best way to deal with this is get them out of London.
Send them out. That's right. I totally agree. I totally agree, and it just all sounds a bit suspect, And
also, there's a high risk.
And this is why you cannot trust what the media, is telling us. This is,
This is what I'm saying. What are you saying, Dion?
Anyway, I called in.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you mentioned it, brother Heru, just to remind people that on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. We're going to be interviewing Sister Sophia Stewart,
the
mother of The Matrix, the woman that created both The Matrix and the Terminator series and owns the franchise on it, and she won a multi-billion lawsuit in 2014. She's going to tell us how she did it, how she, as David, walked Hollywood Goliath. So I'll just ringing to just alert the people then to listen in, tune in. It's going to be a brilliant show, and she's willing to basically tell her story. I just rang in to basically make mention of that.
On Thursday.
On Thursday morning.
And the Heru on the Heru show, and
on the Heru show, and I'll be there as well.
Right on.
Sister McCade and Love.
Yes. Sister Sophia Stewart.
contribution. Yes, Sister Sophia Stewart, the mother of the Matrix. It's going to be, a blast.
The writer.
Anyway, the writer, the author.
Yeah.
And she's got a film called Matrix 4 on its way. She's got a book. You can go and download the book on as an ebook, or you can actually purchase the hard copy. She's got them on sale on her website, truthaboutmatrix.com. Yeah.
Okay.
So, brilliant show. My brother, brilliant show. My sister, I'll listen offline.
Okay.
As you continue.
Enough respect. Bless upon the times.
Bless.
Yes. Thank you for that, Sis Jane. Sister Makeda there.
It's happened before. It's happened several times. If you go back in history, you'll find not about the tower blocks, and that was even a social experiment.
What tower blocks? Did you want to read the history about it?
It was a social experiment in the 70s, 60s and 70s. Well, I did sociology at school.
You should do, because you were working in housing, weren't you?
It was a social experiment.
Yeah, read it there then for me. Okay. What their version of it, the history of tower blocks and the reason why they were put up in the first place. If they were going to bring them down, if that's what the call is, because no one wants to live. I mean, if you lived in one now, you couldn't sleep at night. There's no way you could sleep at night. Well, I couldn't. I most definitely couldn't sleep, knowing that this thing could go up at any time. I'd be like fretting.
The air's cleaner up there.
It doesn't matter, mate. But
it's also more combustible, I guess.
But if you had to jump, unless they give you a parachute. It's not
well, maybe build them in.
We shouldn't be making light of this, really, should we? Well, it is a serious thing.
It's a serious thing, yet still we need to lift the mood.
Of course we do.
It's not meant in any terms in a sense that it's going to be like, oh, it's mocking of it.
No,
it's just like, as you said, there are a lot of people in tower blocks now who may be scratching their head.
Yeah, they don't want to live there.
We have to lighten it up, and there's no two ways about it. It's horrible. It's definitely bad.
So what do you reckon was the history of these putting up these tower blocks?
They were built as social experiments. According to this fandom, a tower block is a residential building of 6 stories or more, usually found in towns and cities, the majority of which were built in the 1960s, synonymous with the period of construction. Excuse me. History. Tower blocks were first built in the UK after the Second World War, in many cases as a quick fix to cure problems caused by crumbling and unsanitary 19th century dwellings, or to replace buildings destroyed by German aerial bombing.
Yep.
Initially, they were welcomed, and their excellent views made them popular living places. Later, as the buildings themselves deteriorated, they grew a reputation for being undesirable, low-cost housing, and many tower blocks saw rising in crime levels, increasing their unpopularity. One response to this was the great increase in the number of housing estates built, which in turn bring in its own problems in the UK. Tower blocks particularly lost popularity after the explosion and partial collapse of Rowan Point in 1968.
Yeah, Rowan Point, 1968, yeah.
Rowan Point changed the course of attitude towards tower blocks. Before the collapse...
What happened in that?
I'm reading it now. Okay. Before the collapse, people saw tower blocks as the solution to a high-density urban living. But afterwards, tower blocks started to become unpopular. The problem was compounded when councils failed to maintain tower blocks to high standards and used them for unpopular social tenants. Since the Rowan Point collapse, tower blocks have been safe ever since. Older tower blocks are now all electric, and new tower blocks have to be built to high safety standards. And there is no similar accident since. Although the accident was not repeated, tower blocks have not yet, in the early 21st century, regained popularity. Should I look that up then?
So why don't they just get rid of them then? This is what I'm saying. With all this history, right, they know how it is. Why don't they just get rid of them then? If they fell out of popularity, then that means people don't want them anymore. Because
of one incident. I mean, it was pretty awful. I mean, the block collapsed.
Yeah.
That's pretty awful, right?
Yeah. I remember in China as well, there was this high-rise building that just collapsed through the earthquake. And it went like a concertina fire, and people underneath they were gone. But up the top they remained. I mean, and underneath them squashed like a tomato. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, if you look into the city, if you look in the city, yeah, like down London Bridge sides, or even
go to my friend lives in Putney. He lives in Chelsea and Westminster, in a tower block, but on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's at least 20 floors up above him. Those flats you have to buy at least for £1 million now. Yeah. So it's selective about where it is the tower blocks are.
Yeah, but so I'm wondering, if you go into these other areas like the city, the money places, some weird buildings. You ever see them over London Bridge? Coming in from London Bridge, you see there look some funny shaped buildings, and they're pretty high. And I can guarantee you that fire wouldn't affect. They'd have the latest state of the art thingy bob going on there.
Well, most of those ones, nobody's in them because all
corporation is just at work at the time.
There's no one living in them, so if anything were to be happening, there's very few people in those buildings, even the ones at Vauxhall, and you've got the American Embassy just there. You have another one, I think, going up. You've got Nine Elms. What
about the Post Office Tower? That's never had a problem.
It's never had a problem.
Never had a fire.
People don't live in there, though.
No, but still. I mean,
corporate businesses, corporate status or symbols are never really troubled by that.
Apart from the Twin Tower. That's another story as well, you see.
For a different show.
I don't know what's going on, but I mean, it's hard to believe, because Texas is coming in, it's hard to believe that people can sit down and plan the death of innocent persons. And this is what the kind of feeling that's going around with a lot of people today, for the lack of evidence. I haven't seen that brother there, that brother whose claim that the fire started in his flat. Or is that just a rumour? Can anyone fill us in on that? The numbers are 079 31 27 62 and the 32. And I repeat, 079 31 27 62 and the 32. We'll bring you into the studios. You can also text on that line as well, that number. Anyone have any information on the story about where the fire started? Because the police certainly hasn't says the fire started in this in this block or at this address, and the investigation would be ongoing in that particular block, because they haven't done no investigation. The fire investigators haven't had a chance to get in there yet.
It's still burning.
You see what I'm saying? So and look how high it is. Who's going to go up there?
Risking a lot.
To go and investigate in that crumbling edifice.
I think
you see what I'm saying?
They have to put scaffolding up before
anything can. But
no bodies are going to be removed from there until
until it's secured.
The structure's safe.
Whether they can actually have to bring it down to investigate, or they may can investigate from its position. But as it stands, this story about the fire being started by a fridge, that means they would have already investigated it then. If that's the case, if they're saying that the fire was started by a fridge, there's no official wording. I don't think
that's suspect, because the guy who called the fire brigade then, if the guy's fridge allegedly exploded, you'd think he'd call the fire brigade and say, look, my fridge
actually, he was actually fighting a fire. Somebody said that they went up there and saw the fire in the flat.
There's so much different.
You see what I'm saying? So I don't know about that one. And who is this brother? What origin is he? You see what I'm saying? What ethnicity is he?
Okay, text sender 681 says, greetings Genesis talk show people, regards to the Glenfield Tower. The council contractors use cheaper materials. When the fire alarm goes off in the offices, people are told to leave the building quickly. Residents were told stay put. Is that murder? The fire services had to get an engine from Surrey because they don't have ladders long enough. The London Fire Service don't have ladders to reach all tower blocks.
No, but that's why they got the dry risers. Then that's what the fire uses. They plug into this thing, and then water goes all the way up a thing.
Doesn't help with the rescue, though, does it?
Well, you can't take people from the window, no.
Hold on a second. But the brother's saying, apparently, the fire engine with the ladder on it had to come from Surrey.
Yeah, but they didn't have the right ladder, though. Maybe they wanted to rescue people obviously, in down where the ladder can be reached.
He's quite clear. The ladders that they had in the London Fire Brigade were not tall enough to reach the top parts of the building.
They don't have any ladder that tall.
They do, because
No way.
They had.
Do you know how high that is?
Hold on. He says,
on,
I'm going to read it again. He says, we are told, people were told to leave the building quickly. Residents were told to stay put. Is that murder? The fire service had to get an engine from Surrey because they don't have ladders long enough.
But the one that came from Surrey couldn't go to the very top of the tower. I mean, no one would climb that high anyway.
Who says no one would? That's their job.
But can you imagine you as a fireman climbing up a maybe 200, 150 foot building?
Have you been to America?
Yeah.
You've been to America?
No, I haven't been to America. I mean, I know what you're saying. I've seen.
I have been to America, and I went right to the very, very, very top of the Empire State Building.
What, on a fire ladder?
No. But my point is, they do have ladders long enough.
Well, that's why
they do exist.
That's why they got the high dry risers rather than to do it externally. So the water goes up through a pressure to reach to the very top. Because I used to do concierge. So I know which with the dry or wet risers, and I have to know to direct the fire. But what I'm saying,
tower blocks.
Yeah, all tower blocks fires are not
tower blocks. All of them, they have no ladders. What's the point of building something so high up in the air when if people are trapped up there, the response from the fire brigade can't help them?
Well, they couldn't help them anyway, because imagine you're on a 200-foot.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Genesis. You're live on the People's Talkshow.
Afternoon. Greetings to you both in the studio. You know, I didn't even know you lot were on. It's only I'm just tuning in 5 minutes ago because I tried earlier and I didn't hear you lot in the studio. So.
Oh, right. Yeah. Heru was running a bit late. So.
That's all right. Yeah. It's good that you're in the studio now. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was hearing what you were saying about the ladders and everything. The ladders coming from Surrey. Is that what you were saying?
It was from a text. I personally didn't say. I just read it out.
Okay.
I think it's 6.
Well, I think we've got that idiot Boris
to thank for that.
Yeah, because some years ago he cut the fire budget, didn't he? The fire services budget.
That's right.
And in fact, when he was challenged on it, he even told the journalist to get stuffed.
Oh.
So that shows how much he cares about the consequences of that. You know. But no, it was really terrible because looking from what I saw anyway, and I actually know someone that lives in that block, and, and thankfully she's one of the survivors. Yeah, thankfully. What I saw, to me, it looked like they were outmatched and outclassed by that fire from the get-go, because the equipment looked so inferior to what they was up against. I have to wonder, it's like they came to that fire with third world equipment.
Third world equipment?
That's what it looked like.
Oh, my gosh.
The little fire extinguisher that was there looked like it had a case of prostate cancer.
Oh, my gosh.
Because it was just, in comparison to the blaze, it was like a little trickle that was coming out of that hose.
Oh, wow.
And you're right, you know, you would think that, our brother Heru mentioned about the dry riser, and you would think that they would have ladders that were tall enough, because that ladder only reached to, like, I don't know, maybe the 15th floor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, halfway up the building by the looks of it, or 3/4 of the way. Couldn't reach to the top.
No way.
Yeah. And also, don't they have those cranes? I swear the fire brigade have cranes that they can use. You know, like if you're stuck in a lift, they crank it up, and I'm pretty sure they're
supposed to. Even helicopters that could, you know, maybe douse the building from the top. They're supposed to have that. I've seen that before.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Right. So what happened? The loss of a lot of lives, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people here now.
So what's your
in
feeling?
sorrows.
What's your feeling on that, Caller? What do you? I mean,
Oh, I've got a lot of feelings
Sorry.
on this. I really
Yeah.
have. First of all, you know that the numbers of deceased are blatantly being suppressed.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of all of this we find out that like maybe 250 to 300 people have gone in that building.
Do you think
And
it's
there's
that
gonna be so
low?
many people that are unaccounted for. I'm talking about all the sofa surfers, the
That's
subletters,
right. That's
the
right.
undocumented people. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? So, wow. Wow. It is coming like a UK 9/11 for real. But my feeling
I didn't want to say
is-
that, sister. I did not want to say that. But
it's
like,
true.
I know. That's why I'm acknowledging what you said. I didn't want to say it, but I'm glad you did. Great minds thinking alike right there. Because I was thinking, this is reminiscent of that, which is why I wasn't able to watch too much of it.
Yeah, I know. This touched me differently, you know. Like, like you see all these little terrorist things happening and whatnot. I'm not going to lie to you. As much as I feel for the victims of that, this right here, maybe it's because I actually know someone personally that lives in there. I don't know. I don't even think it is that, though. It just touched me differently.
Yeah.
Because seeing, ordinary people just like you, me, it could be anyone that you know, to go in that way so needlessly through blatant negligence. I call it criminality, actually. At best, it's criminal negligence and recklessness.
That's
Right.
right.
And so many of them people have got their hands dirty. People needlessly lost their lives in a horrific way.
But sis, what I'm trying to get my head around, are we saying
Yeah.
that there are people that will actually sit down
Yes, Heru.
and plan this thing like
Yes, Heru. Yes,
Okay, well-
yes.
I'm not going to tell people how to think, but let's check out the facts, what we do know so far. And this is stuff that I'm coming across, a combination of what I've been directly told by people that live in that area, things that I've come across, just information-wise that is swirling out there. Okay, first of all, we know that cladding was flammable. And they knew that cladding was flammable because we had what happened in Larknell Tower down in Suffolk a few years back.
Yeah, right.
And
Southwark.
the housing minister at the time sat on a report that made a number of recommendations, one of which is that all tower blocks should be retrospectively fitted with sprinkler systems. Yeah? So they were well aware that this cladding was dangerous and they knew what kind of safety measures should have been put in place. Then you've got the fact that they recently changed the residents' heating system from electric to gas and they left exposed gas pipes
Wow.
in the stairwell being the only entrance and exit to that building. And also they left exposed gas pipes in the residents' corridors as well. And actually a lot of the residents were up in arms about this. They were complaining and saying how dangerous this was. And all their complaints are documented, just like, how the Residents Association was making a whole lot of noise and
Yes.
complaints about, all the failings of that TMO. And they were completely ignored, of course. They were completely ignored. Then as well, very strangely, my friend said that 4 days before this thing happened, right, they all got very strange visits. I would call it strange visits from fire service or people claiming to be fire contractors. And the reason why they were saying this is strange is because they've never had this before. But 4 days prior, they get visits saying that we're doing safety checks. And they were told, that instruction for them to stay in their home in case of a fire was reinforced. Yeah,
What?
they were being told, make sure you stay in your flat if there's a fire.
Why would you do that?
Why would they do that?
No,
And on
but
top
I'm
of
saying,
that,
you know what, sister? Can I just point something out here? If I personally know there's a fire, and I've been advised by some person who doesn't live in the block or live like me, and they say, if there's a fire, stay in the block. I'm running like the clappers, right? I am out of there. This is what a point I need to kind of accept in my head. It's a fire.
Yeah.
It's a fire. Fire burns. And someone says to me, if there's a fire, stay inside. that sounds a bit. On my part, I'm saying,
iffy, doesn't it?
Not to say that people can't say that. It's about the fact that you would accept and comply with that. That's what
I know.
That's what is getting in my head right now. How do you do that? If there's a fire,
go on. Sorry.
I'm just saying that this fact that they were told to stay inside if there's a fire, why would they comply?
Okay, to answer that question, I would say, right, you've got to put it in the context that they've been living in. In that block, this isn't the first fire they've had, you know. Like, in that block, just like many other tower blocks, there's been a number of fires, quite a few actually. But most of the time, it's always contained to that one flat. Do you know what I'm saying? It's always been contained to that one flat. So you might have, a kitchen or something that goes up, but the fire never ever spreads. I mean, let's keep it real. Have you ever seen a building go up like that in such a short amount of time?
Kind of, yes. Kind of.
You have.
I tell you where it was in Lewisham.
A concrete building. Okay.
In Lewisham, it happened, and the road was blocked, and I was the only person at work who could go and deal with it. And I got there in a couple of minutes, and the fire brigade, as you said, had it under control. But believe me, that block was emptied.
I'm sure, it was evacuated.
In a matter of minutes. No one said it to anybody, stay inside if there's a fire.
Yeah. Well, apparently that policy is meant to be quite a widespread policy in tower blocks, you know. Like, they tell, and the reasoning behind it, obviously you and I don't agree with that, but the reasoning behind it, they figure that in a huge building like that where you've got, say, 500 residents, it would be more dangerous in their mind for all 500 residents to be running down the stairs at once, creating the risk of being crushed or some other type of pandemonium. So they figure, because them flats are designed to contain the fire, yeah? They've got certain designs within the structure itself. So if a fire breaks out internally, it's supposed to be prevented from spreading upwards and across. Hence why they say the fire is meant to be contained. But then, what happened here is you had that flammable
cladding
site on the outside of the building, isn't it?
Okay.
The cladding, it's called cladding.
So now you've got a fire coming from the outside, the exterior, as opposed to the interior. And it's so flammable, it's spreading all over.
So, sister, because did the fire start inside and spread outwards, or did it start outside and take the whole thing?
It started inside, and then the fire obviously must have bust the window, because obviously when fire spreads and it gets too hot, the first thing that happens is the window smashes, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So then the fire comes out of the window, and then the window coming into contact with that horrible cladding, then starts spreading all over the place.
Wow.
On the exterior, yeah.
Wow. You know, what you're saying, a lot of that kind of like really trips me out. The fact that you can go in a building like that and you have to have confidence and belief that they're speaking the truth, that these homes, these dwellings are safe. Because
you're supposed to.
Well, this is Well,
I mean, they're going to have an inquiry, yeah, and they're going to have to give their version of it, yeah, and whether we're going to believe it or not is another story, isn't it? I mean, what do you think is going to happen when the inquiry has been made? And do you think anyone's going to
cover themselves up and pass the buck?
You reckon?
Especially as it's going to be a government-led inquiry.
Yeah, well, they're good at that, aren't they? They're very good at that.
Very good at that. It's basically a conclusion where everybody but nobody is to blame.
Right, so we'll have to learn from this. Whilst we don't really know exactly how many lives,
but obviously didn't learn from it.
Right.
In hindsight, talk about hindsight.
In hindsight, the McPherson report.
You know,
hindsight.
But I mean, really, I don't think the people are going to be in any mood for any. If no one's going to be accountable, right, and it's going to put it down as an accident, if it's a preventable one or not. The people are not going to be in any mood, I don't think, to take any whitewash here. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think what they're going to do, though, right, because through all, there are certain occasions, like right now, you can see that people aren't having it. There are certain occasions where they're like, right, we do have to point the finger at someone. And it tends to be, the lackey, if you like, some convenient scapegoat. So they might find some, I don't know, the lowest level
person to take
that they can basically get away with using.
Do you think? What about Theresa May? Because they're quite upset that Theresa May didn't make an appearance and speak to the residents or those that were...
Or even shed a tear.
involved.
Well, we don't know that woman there hasn't got empathy anyway. You know what I'm saying?
She weren't even crying or even pretending.
And her Tory cronies are the ones that have been imposing this unnecessary, anti-humane policy of flipping austerity
cuts
and rolling out privatisation everywhere as well. I know privatisation began long before, but they've just extended it further to the point where they even want to privatise the NHS. So we know that they don't have any empathy.
So do you think the buck stops with her?
Okay. I think off the top of my head, if I was implicating people, I'd be starting with the contractors, then going to the TMO, then going to the council, then going to even the mayor himself, because he got a lot of backhand donations from these private property developers and contractors, basically to turn a blind eye, to the illegal stuff that they've been getting away with. I would look to the building regulators, who also turned a blind eye, they shouldn't get away with it, because they must have known what kind of material they were using on these tower blocks. And definitely, for sure, it goes to the highest level of government.
Yeah, because there was concern expressed by the people at all times. They were
brushed off.
Yeah.
Because this is, as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of people have been saying it, and I think they're on point. This is like it's an attack on the poor. It's an attack on the working class, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it really is. First of all, they don't want working class people in the centre of London anymore. As far as they're concerned, we're not needed, and they would much rather to sell all that lovely prime land to their wealthy developers and investors.
But hold on, if they're selling everything,
we need to go.
If they're selling everything to private investors, how can we be in austerity? I must be really stupid.
The austerity has been imposed on working people and poor people. This is it. This is all intertwined with understanding the nature of the system that we live in. You know, this austerity hasn't been imposed on the wealthy. You don't hear that they've been getting tax breaks and all sorts of bonuses. This has been imposed on the poorest sections of society for almost a decade now. And now we're seeing the results of it. You know, needless suffering, poverty, and now death.
Lives lost, yes. It's not going to get any easier. I think that, as you said, I agree with you, that it's all going to be brushed underneath the carpet, because unless someone chooses to whistleblow, a little prick in their conscience somewhere decides to wake them up and they decide to whistleblow, we'll never know exactly the ins and outs of what happened, which is tragic for the loss of lives, all those who've lost their lives, their families who want justice and want to know exactly what has happened, what caused this. It's going to be a very long journey, a long, painful journey.
These inquiries are designed to be long and drawn out, aren't they? And they do that because they hope in a few years' time no one will really care anymore, you know?
That's right.
Just being taken out of it so people won't care. But what I think the beautiful thing that has come out of this is the fact that people, you know, ordinary people are getting up and they're not having it. They're actually pushing back now. They're fighting back. And they're saying, we see that there is something endemically wrong with society. We see all the inequality and all the BS, and we're not having it anymore. And I feel like that's the momentum that needs to keep going. Because
do you think there could be anarchy?
It's ourselves that are going to take the power.
Do you think there could be anarchy?
No one's going to give it to us.
Do you think there's going to be anarchy then?
I don't know if there's going to be anarchy. I think what there needs to be is like organised resistance. Anarchy, as far as I'm concerned, isn't really the way forward, because now it's just disorder and chaos. Things need to be organised,
so much in the menu,
and people need to be very clear about the goals that they're trying to attain, what it is that they're trying to achieve. You know, not just I don't know, senseless violence or whatever for the sake of it. Have a goal. You want to occupy something, you want to take it over, do that.
So, do you think that they should go to jail? Someone was saying on a clip on YouTube that they should be charged with corporate murder.
Absolutely.
Who's going to be charged with it?
The government should be charged.
Or state-sanctioned murder, whatever you want to call it.
But who's going to physically go to prison?
As far as
The
I'm
government.
concerned, that was a massacre. What we watched before our eyes was coming like a mass ritual. How can you burn people like that in their own home?
Sisters on my page. That's what I saw, a ritual.
Absolutely.
I saw a
When people
ritual.
are like, oh, what do you think about Theresa May not coming down? I don't really care because the Queen came down and even, what's his face, Corbyn came down as well. But as far as I'm concerned, those are just meaningless gestures. Because if you were really extending humanity and you're the Queen, you'd be freeing up your bedrooms.
Well, I tell you what, we'll have to get all the astrologers out and find out what day it is and see if there's any.
Have one.
If there's any matching with any sacrificial date or date period, or
you
know what I mean.
Let me make a call. I can make a call.
Yeah,
if anyone's interested.
And because if it is, then again, it's going to be in our face, right? And because it's in our face, and we're not going to be able to do anything about it. You see what I'm saying to you? So
you see, I don't agree. I feel like we do have something that there is so much that we can do. Yeah, it's about understanding our own power and taking what we want, taking what we need. Yeah, and sometimes people don't like to hear that fighting talk, but while the fire's right there in our belly, I think we have to put up a real resistance because what is going on out here is state-sanctioned murder as far as I'm concerned.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to expect the rich now to let go some of that wealth that they've got, right? They're going to have to let some more go.
How are they going to do that?
You hear they're already shook. Because you've got even the Tories now talking about this is the end of austerity.
Yeah, oh, you mean?
The Tories now taking on supposedly left-wing politics. They're shook because they can see that people are vexed and they're not having it.
Yeah,
so
of course,
really
look at the vote.
The intricacies of the system. You just know that what you're seeing around you ain't right.
Well, look at the vote. The people spoke, didn't they? Granny tax, dementia tax. You get £100,000 and we'll have the rest. Thank you.
No, but you see what's going to happen now? Where the rich, right? When they've got the money because money is created out of nothing, right? We're talking about numbers,
yeah, they just
right?
print it out of nothing.
Out of nothing. So the physical money is no big thing. So they're going to have to let go now a lot more of their wealth to sort this out, and this is what's going to hurt them. This is why I say you lot are costing us too much money. You see what I'm saying? So they're going to have to be forced to. I want to thank you for your interjection. I'm going to let someone else come in on this.
Yeah,
and you'll feel free to call back at any. Yeah, man, respect all the time. Bless up, sis.
Yeah.
You're in tune to the People's Talk Show, and the numbers are 07931 27 62 and the 32. And I repeat, 07931 27 62 and 32 will bring you into the studios. Very interesting take on people I've got so far, and it's going to be down to the rich at the end of the day to bail the situation out. They're going to have to let go some of their riches, their wealth. They're going to have to either, but I know what they're going to say. They'd rather kick us out of London. They'd rather say, well, this is the reason why we're overcrowded. That's why we have to resort to old buildings which were still up after the war. How old the building is. How long was the war, and you still got the buildings. You still got flats up today, but they're kind of sturdy, especially some of these flats like in Dog Kennel Hill. Those old war type flats, which are pretty strong, much stronger than the little flimsy ones that they're making today. And I'm sure if it was one of those new ones that they were made there, that would have gone up like a matchbox. Not wishing anything on anyone, but now our consciousness has been made alert. Those are in those high rises now. They must be in fear of their own safety, and worrying. So that's how much this has affected our community, and it has affected us. As I said, you want to be happy. It's a nice sunny day, but there's always that sadness in the back of your mind to know it's all right for me and you, right, who has not been involved, but the life goes on for us, but it also goes on for them who've had relatives in the fire who are actually made homeless, and it goes on for them, but in a much more tragic way. And
That's a hypothalamus scrambling kind of event. I mean, how many of those people are going to have post-traumatic stress disorder? How many of those people are going to be going down a path after this? I mean, if you've lost your whole family, okay, and you may be injured, you may be not, even if you just witness people at the window, which is where I cut off watching any of it.
Yeah, I saw that.
When I saw people at the window and the fires raging right behind them, that's enough for me.
I heard that babies being thrown out the window.
Yes, and people videoing it, which is like, to me, again, mind-blowing. That's like, why do you want to video? I know it's recording events of great importance and significance, yet at the same time, it sends shivers down my spine. It's like watching active death. It's active. That disturbed me somewhat, so I switched off after that, and I haven't entertained any.
But it's always at the back of your mind, though. This is what I'm saying. In a community where we're thinking, well, we're getting up to whatever morning we're getting up to, and who've lost their. I saw a gentleman lost his wife. And I felt sad for him. I said, "Wow, it's heavy for you, isn't it? You're going to be thinking about this all the time." While so as a community, and I don't think there's anyone that has not been affected by this, although we try to put it at the back of our mind, some of us, and say, well, and then it's going to be brought up again and again. We're going to have to be reliving this for a long time now, when we try to sort out the answers, the whys and the wherefores, and who's going to be held responsible at the end of the day. How can these people get their compensation, for their trauma? How many of them in the whole... And you can't just talk about.
Great.
We can't just talk about those that are in the building. What about those outside and around?
That's what I'm saying. It's not just a matter of those that perished in the fire. It's also those that witnessed it and wanted to go and help and were told not to. I mean, that's a lot of guilt, because you could and you would have.
So we need that counselling, isn't it? So everyone who's in and around that should be getting counselling support. And
there's no support line either.
No, and some of them may not even be able to go back to work for a while because the things on their mind, and that if they're living near ground floor, are living near the vicinity, knowing that there's a wall of death standing over you. You know what I mean? You're looking into the skyline.
And the smell. Can you imagine the odor?
Lingering smell, and they're looking into the skyline and seeing that edifice. That horrible edifice that's going to be there as a reminder.
Which looks like it's about to topple over any minute.
This is what I'm saying. It's another thing again. How safe is that building? All of these things have to really be brought to fore now as a community. This is where we're going to see how the government responds to this and what they intend to do about it. And are we going to be satisfied with whatever they do? I don't know. Unless somebody's head roll for this, and some person's going to be imprisoned. I don't know if that would... How soon
is that going to be? That may not be for a very, very long time. It's not going to be instantaneous, right? It was your fault, so you're going to jail, you're going to be charged, you're going to be arrested, you're going to be going to Crown Court, and you're going to take the rap for everything, because it's not that simple.
Not as simple as that, I know. But again, you asked the question, could it have been prevented? That's where they're going to have to be sorting out. And if it couldn't have been prevented, could it have been contained? And why wasn't it contained? And
the coulda, woulda, shouldas are going to be there forever and ever.
Now. Yeah, and also the conspiracy theorists,
which are going to be rife.
Of course, and it's going to be like, again, I know that when you look at it, if you look at again, I'm bringing up the Titanic. And the Titanic, when it was set sail, it said it could never sink. And I'm thinking, can you make a vessel that can't sink? So, and then you went on and it said it was the iceberg, they hit an iceberg, and then another investigation come up and they're saying it was done through insurance. So I don't know.
Do you know, early in the mornings they have like shows on it, and as you said, conspiracy theorists. They say that it wasn't even the original Titanic. It was a different boat.
Well,
but I mean...
people died there, right? So what I'm saying. So it's an insurance job. So then maybe that may answer my own question. Could there be, I mean, are the conspiracy theorists telling me that people sat around and planned this? Are we to accept this as well? You see what I'm saying? I don't know.
I don't think...
Corporate murder.
Definitely. But how to prove that...
Well, I don't know. Maybe they can prove
whistleblower.
negligence.
Maybe Assange, now he's out, can do it.
I mean, can you imagine the whole council up for negligence? Would it be everyone in the council or just the heads of the council? The workers? Would the workers be involved in this
It would be the
negligence case?
The executives and the shareholders.
Because some of the shabby workers that the council employ and shabby tradespeople, thing that
we all experience.
Yeah, right.
We
all don't like councils coming with the cheap stuff. They come with they're going to give you a kitchen, cheap old kitchen.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And it's their stock, yeah. And they meant, according to European law, they meant to upgrade their stock. And a lot of stock in London are not really upgraded. You're live on Genesis.
Hello, Heru.
Yeah, greetings.
I think I just heard you talking about insurance fraud and stuff like that. Corporate murder and things like that. Mm-hmm. I think I heard, I didn't think, the guy Philip Hammond was on one of those TV shows. And he was saying that the cladding that they're talking about has banned in Europe and America. He said it's banned here too. So he suggested there a police investigation already. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But just like that guy, Piki Saku, was on the TV, BBC, and he was talking about basically, the whole money, the supposed 10 million that was spent on the building, etc.
Yeah, that's right.
And, somebody showed a diagram of how the cladding is supposed to be on the building. It's not exactly on the building itself. It's off the building. Mm-hmm. Now, two conflicting stories are going on, right? Somebody's fridge.
That's right.
Caught fire. I don't know how often fridges catch fire, but there you have it. Somebody's fridge caught fire.
But where's this person? Where is this person?
Sorry?
Where is this person? Have you seen him? Whose flat it began?
There's a picture of a black guy. I think it's an Ethiopian guy, whatever.
What, he started in his flat, yeah?
They put him up there and said it was his flat, right? I don't know if he's a crisis actor or what. But, that's one thing that's been thrown out, and it's not really been run with a lot. And there's something you have a memory. Please, do have a memory. And this is what I realise, that a lot of people are really being dumbed down. Even, quote unquote, you're great and you're good. I'm like, is everybody dumb, blind and deaf? Have a memory. The first thing you should say is, well, steel buildings under normal fire won't collapse. So rewind, 2001, what are you talking about? Right? We've had potential fire burnings, and these buildings don't come collapsing on themselves. That's number one. Go right back to that time and look at Building 7. Couple of office fires.
Yeah, but Reece, hang on, Reece. But when they say they don't collapse on each other, remember, if you're talking about 2011, the explosion, innit? It was an explosion caused that implosion, that for it to collapse.
Well, they come up with the diagrams, chatting rubbish about how jet fuel can melt steel, right? And you've got 9/11 engineers for 9/11 or whatever you want to call it, the group. And the scientists, they're engineers, and they say, quite clearly blow it out of the water. And here you've got what looked like to me some fast-acting accelerant. And even if that thing was not fireproof, it ought not to be an accelerant. That building went up, like the proverbial kind of Roman cat. It just went up. And think again. The story of the guy he lives in a block of flats, and his fridge is caught on fire. I don't know if it was exploding fridges, but we've had exploding mobile phones and that. But his fridge is caught fire. I don't know what it's contained. It's contained within his kitchen. He tries to put it out with some water. It gets a bit airy, scary. He runs out, closes the door. They never said he wasn't burnt or anything like that. He closes the door, calls 911, 999, knocks on his next door neighbour and say, look, blah, 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 blah. Right? Let's get out of Dodge. Now, how does the fire that's contained jump outside?
Well, coming through the windows. It came through the window, innit? Because you see the fire.
It came through the window.
You see the flames coming through the window. If you watch the thing, you see the flames and the cladding.
No, that's after the fact. If the argument put out in the newspapers and on the website, the official website, it is true that it was in a block of flats that this, I forget what floor it was, that's where the fire, of course they're going to deny it, but that's where the fire came through, after publishing his face and everything, that's where it came from. Then it's inside. It's an internal fire. It's not an external fire. So why would it be better than the outside?
So what are you saying then?
Real estate. You didn't listen to me about Tottenham, so I don't expect to go back into that.
Now, what are you saying?
I'll just say real estate. And since you don't care, why should they? You clearly don't listen. And then what kind of blame?
Listen to what, Reese?
Dumb cattle.
Listen.
So I think you're dumb cattle.
Hold on.
I agree with them.
Hold on. You said the community don't listen. Listen to what?
You see, sometimes I put my neck out there, which I won't do anymore, because it's not done us any good. What we're doing is reacting after the fact. It's dark whistle, and then you jump, right? It has to happen.
But
you're not willing to learn.
Yeah, but
and if I say something, here you go.
But Reese, what are you saying?
You're not in the learning phase.
No, Reese, hang on a minute. You said the community don't listen, right? But listen to you? You saying?
Well, either I've been chatting crap and it's not worth listening.
But what's that got to do with the fire, though?
You interrupt and talk all over me most of the times, most of you guys.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with the fire?
Well, it's got nothing to do with the fire. Absolutely nothing. I said real estate. And I was talking about Pikisaku, and I think somebody interrupted. I don't know what it was, but all of a sudden I got off the point. And I got into, you guys don't have a memory. Maybe you didn't see it. Maybe you haven't seen enough of it.
You said it. You came out with it.
Sorry?
You came out with it, that we don't have a memory. So I'm trying to relate it to the fire. Like, I mean, I thought you were saying that if they had listened to you, then the fire would have happened. That's what.
Well, I called it at the point when you said, "Oh, you expect the building to collapse." Well, it's not. It's not going to collapse.
Okay.
It has to be rigged for it to collapse.
Okay.
And that takes weeks for it to go down. Because, where am I way? 10% in Patsy Palmer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 100 people watching Nightingale Estate go down. It's rigged for weeks, and it goes down just like Building 7.
So you're saying that building could stay up there, yeah?
It's a steel structure. If they wanted to, get some guys there, grind down the steel, to knock out all the concrete, and put new slab on it. If you wanted to,
would you live?
So you can redesign it. In theory, you can.
Would you live in it?
It's not. Sorry.
Would you live in it?
Would I live in it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we can make an office block out of it. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, in theory, it can be done because the steel structure will stand. You've got to have a lot of degrees temperature to compromise steel.
Now, with responsibility of this, right? Who do you hold responsible for this, or who can we hold accountable?
Well, for me, it's all over the place. It's council workers, and that's every council right now should be council mayor and chief executive officer should be in jail.
Wow.
I'll give you a charge on number one what they've done, right, and what they're doing. But again, it was on the television. Now, because they choose to accept austerity, I don't know why. Who said you have to do it? You don't have to. You understand? But because they choose to do it, they're going to find ways to make money. Let's take the borough you're in. What borough are you in?
Dulwich.
Mm-hmm. Remember when the crash went, every chancellor brought onto an economic model. Every prime minister went with this economic model, which was Irish gambling, and it was irresponsible gambling, and that's another charge you can lay on everybody as well. So nobody's thinking individually and saying, I'm going my way, right? Which is very hard to do in education anyway, because they look at you like, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I'm not speaking like you. But the point is, they want to find money. Now, every borough, give a rough guess about how many people in your borough.
I can't give a rough guess, mate. I don't know.
All right, let's just pick one out here. 300,000 in the borough of Lambeth, yeah?
Okay.
And the chief executive, they're kind of cats strapped, and they need ideas. how to make money. Instead of going to the people that actually pay their wages, that's you guys, and say a prize for great ideas of how the council can make some money, and we'll give you a badge and a plaque and all the rest of it, brass band you, and keys to the borough and all the rest of it. If you come up with some good ideas, that's 300,000 people putting children as well, putting their mind to an idea or several ideas how the council can make money without policing and giving pain to its constituency. What does it do there? No. What it does is secretly, behind your back, take your money and go to PricewaterhouseCoopers, pay them millions for them to come and tell you how to, then PricewaterhouseCoopers to tell your councillors how to inflict pain and suffering on you. I'll raise the money off you. Cut resources, stick more yellow lines, parking stuff. This is how you do it. Make smaller toilets. Don't wash the water. The tap water regular enough. If it's seven rinses, that poo water get. Then give them 3. That you save electric. All this. What? But I don't know that. I can see why they do it. Put it this way, I can see why they do it, because even when there is one amongst them, they don't protect that one amongst them. They leave it for them to either get compromised and leave them in the mire. They don't listen to education from the one amongst them, so they pretty much cannon fodder, and they deserve what they get. So we'll just give them another show. Because we're now going to say, in order for you to be something, put your boobs out. In order for you to be like Germany. Well, you're 16, you come to a job, you want a job, do you?
So who deserves, Reece, who deserves what they get?
Sorry?
Who deserves what they get?
I said I could see how they see it. Because they don't like to learn outside of the box. They
meaning
the box that they're in, but all they like is a little bit of tentacle up and a face mask on it. But real education is a bit different.
Yeah, but who's
and
they?
They're challenged by it. But if it comes from one of their own, and I see what Jesus was like as well. I understand. You got to be.
Sorry. You got to be more specific when you say they. I don't know who you're talking about. They mean
the people. I'll tell you who they are. The people that can finance a world war, and at the end of it, when your millions and all your people have been affected and died, turn around and say it was them that died, and you must worship them every year. The people that you have to be speaking hustlings about. The first terrorist attack in London was 1666, the fire of London. Them very same people who were banned and vexed with Cromwell because they financed his army to kill the king, expected to walk back in, but forgot to mention he couldn't be a king. He can only be Lord Protectorate, and he can't undo the freaking royal expulsion. And the bishops objected to it. That's why you got 84 churches burned down. And who do you think these Dutch who were accused of doing it were? Where do you think they went in 1492 when they got kicked out? I set up the Dutch. Come on, man, put pieces together. If you don't, I don't see what all the hoops are about.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
He's got a point. It's all about his story.
Yeah, you're right. So who started the fire of London?
There's no other people that was accused twice.
Yeah.
No other people was accused twice. Nobody had the motive.
Yeah, for real.
So they could do it any time they do.
Yeah,
and it's simple as that.
Well, that's answered my question anyway. That has definitely answered my question, whether people can sit down and plan. I forgot all about the fire of London, you know what I mean?
The first terrorist attack.
And people died in that as well. And
a lot of people died.
You see what I'm saying to you?
And look at it. If the way how I'm kind of like thinking is, if they can do that to their own.
Well, it wasn't their own.
Who are the people that died then? Were they not common Londoners, commoners?
Who? No, I don't. No, you don't. No.
No, it wasn't common Londoners that died.
No. I don't think you get. I'm not quite sure you're getting it. This tribe is waging a war against the world. This tribe has put enmity between man and woman. This tribe is destroying the relationship between man, woman, child, mother, father. This tribe is enslaving you as I speak. merciless. His tribe, when they had been on top and have done the wickedness they've done, when they met each other, they'd say, have you had a good day? Do you know where that comes from?
Yeah.
Have you had a good day? Do you know what I mean?
For real.
I am not joking with you.
Yep.
You're playing with something you don't really know. All I'm saying is, good luck to him. I mean, that's in this world, there are harsh lessons that we've got to learn from God.
Yeah.
That means we've got a choice. You play with this God. He's got an adversary for you. Everything he puts out there is against what God has given you. And it amazes me that I hear people on the other radio station. You know, I'm like, you are so childish and you clearly don't get it and you're dangerous to your own. But it's the innocent who don't get it who will follow that and be destroyed. They will literally be destroyed. Because it's tantamount to having a newborn baby. And this baby starts to say one or two words and want you to explain the very existence and everything about it. Who are you? Who are you? They can't even listen to a teacher, let alone they're going to criticize God because he don't answer their ignorant questions and their desires that is bloody in it. And they think they're so holier than thou. Reject him then. Reject him. And how is it? How is it? How is it?
Yeah, but Reese, hang on, 1 minute.
They've been up in the 15th century, and the first people actually landing there were the same people. The same people.
Well, Reese, let me ask you this now, yeah? In the same token, I can say, if you say about rejecting God, I can turn around and say, then why God allow these people to do what they do? Why does God allow these people to do what they do? I don't want to go away from the subject, but according to what you were saying, I said in the same token, I could say, then God know these people, right? And God could have stopped them too, right? You know, God should.
That's not what He's here to do.
Well, that's not what.
This is a fight. This is a spiritual places in a higher realm.
And He's not involved.
We're in a dimension. And in this dimension that we are, you're wearing your skin, by the way, right? You're wearing your flesh, you're wearing your skin, right? And you're rocking your bones. Simple as that, right? But in this dimension, you have a responsibility. You have a choice. You know what? And it's a dichotomy. There is an up, there is a down. There is an in, there is an out. There is a black, there is a white. There is a cold, there is a hot. There is a good, there is an evil. There is a source for good. There is a source for evil. You have a choice. And it's through your senses. The one that you can deal with. That means your eyes, observable science, what you hear, that means what you can remember, and what you can write and speak of.
Yeah, but if you got a choice.
And beginning with the word of God, and the word.
Listen, if you got a choice.
Made flesh.
Hold on.
That's you.
Hold on. If we got a choice, why would we choose evil?
Sorry?
If we have a choice, why would we choose evil?
Why would you choose evil?
Yeah. If you got a choice between good and evil, why do you choose evil? Why would we choose evil?
Because
unless you don't give me the wherewithal. If you didn't give,
I'll answer that. It's like this: people don't recognise that it's evil. It's a bit like you don't recognise.
Oh, so you haven't got a choice then? If I don't recognise, I don't have a choice.
No. Listen. You do have a choice.
No, I don't recognise.
Hold on. It's about discernment, and I'm just about to give you a perfect analogy. Now, I give you a tip, right? And I say that will save your life. Put it in the ground. It don't look like much, but that's a wonderful tree. And that tree provides fruit. You've got to be patient. That's number one lesson human beings ain't got. And they start getting angry because they think in their timeline, this thing worked for them. And it's supposed to be now, like a sport little kid stamping your foot. So you start box up again because this. You're suspicious. You start rubbing them because you didn't want to work long enough. Same with Satan. Whatever you're taking, that was right. I don't know what it's all about, mate. I don't know what it's all about. Next minute you're out there eating that dustbin. It's just like the seed. They both plant seeds, my friend. But it's about discernment, and it's about wisdom. And stop mocking wisdom. You guys, a lot of you guys mock what you don't understand, and you cut people to the quick, and you just want to, I don't get it. How are you learning? How is anybody gravitating? I don't need to talk about those people, and in fact I won't. But I do like to try to educate people so you can see better. and be more discerning.
Well, listen,
and
mate.
realise.
Well, hold on. Well, if it's good and evil running this world, right? Then we want to know about who invented evil, right? Because whoever invented evil knew evil was evil and still invented it, and then turn around expecting us and crucifying us when we do choose evil, which is a contradiction before we even start. So we are.
No. You put something out there, right? You might want to round it up and full stop it and come and satisfy yourself. But you might want to ask a question about that rather than satisfy yourself with your own answer. What? Because this is what I hear a lot of these guys on this radio talk. They come up with a scenario, quite often it's a straw man argument, they prove it, stop it around like it's a fool, and they're satisfied. Right, yeah, done it. And in a real philosophical debate, in a real discussion,
I think we're going away from the argument, Reece. So I tell you what, I want to get something else coming now, yeah, because we do have a long time, and you did actually answer some of my questions as to.
Can I ask one more point? Because this is a disease. There's a disease going on. It's an epidemic disease, and it really is damaging us badly. And I really, really would love an argument, a proponent of it, a real proper right-hand proponent of it, right? Because I know where it comes from, and heads and top and tail it. Race is not, I repeat, race, ethnicity is not socially constructed, never was, never will be. The paradigm you're looking at is deception. It is circular reasoning. It is lying to you to keep you away from the real essences of what you've got to look at. And how you define what true is.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll leave it here because you've got to go, yeah?
Yeah, man, enough respect.
All right, cool.
All the time. Bless up. Yeah, thank you for that. You're in tune to the Genesis Radio People Talk Show. It's your talk show, and we're discussing the events of this week, the inferno down there at Glenfield, is it?
Glenfield.
Yeah, Glenfield Towers, and the people who are affected by this. And we are in
shock
and
consternation.
No, we are together.
What is consternation?
Right, together as a group, and we feel it as well. And we want to show our sympathy to those who are suffering, and we're trying to see whether we can get our heads around this, because we're left with also the aftermath, trying to figure out in terms of the council's ability to make us safe. So security all around has been affected, and even even where I live on the second floor, I was wondering that the other day. I was wondering if a fire broke out on the ground floor, I got to jump out the window.
Oh, well, I was told, because we have similar properties, not too differently, to jump out the window because you won't die. That's what the fireman said to me.
That's what the Bella said. I got to jump out the window. I said, you're having a laugh, ain't you?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, all you have to do is put a fire escape from the kitchen down into the garden, innit? A fire escape, But this is it's going to really make me now get that fire escape, you know what I mean? Because all I got. So you want me to jump out the window? I suppose I got youths in there, grandchildren. You want me to them to jump too? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you can see this brings the whole question to the services that are provided by the so-called government. So it's not just on.
And then they go on to harass you for the rent.
Yeah.
Which you tear your hair out trying to pay.
You know what I'm saying? So really, you're live on Genesis.
Oh, hello. It's me back again. Yeah. Now I'm hearing the interest in the conversation. Now, I'm trying to put the pieces together. If this fire had happened, yeah, and they're supposed to have a fire escape or a fire engine that can reach up the sky, can get people out, the equipment, how comes that the fire brigade service has been cut? And when they've been cut, right, they couldn't use the proper equipment, allegedly, that they was pointed out on another station, when the fire service was cut by the Prime Minister, I think the mayor before, Sadiq Khan, and the mayor before cut this fire service. So it really makes me think, are these people actually, and you know what, we can talk all we want. They say, be real safe in Cyprus, so you can talk all you want. But it's not going to be it'll be investigated, but nobody in powers that's over the top will be in jail. Only maybe one person, but it's not the full. They will never go full status because then we will not be able to trust governments again. So things will break out, as I'm saying to you.
But Bertrand, it's not...
cases, look, I refer politicians that did it with boys, X, Y, and Z, with boys. They did not go to jail. Any one of them did not go to jail. And it's going to keep carrying on and on and on until Ariston.
Well, that's an opinion still, you know. That's an opinion, but I don't feel that. I think this is going to change things. Just like how the riot changed things. You see what I'm saying to you? The
riots didn't change things.
Anything.
Why? I tell you why. Mm-hmm. Because they put more laws on. When those idiots that went out and raided, like, I'm not talking about all the anarchists, but let an anarchist phone in and say his view, but the idiots who were just anarchists and wanted to just raid down waters and things, that didn't change nothing. That brought more laws in. So if anything breaks out now and the victims don't have justice, they don't get their justice, and more people start to come out, it's going to happen.
I'll tell you what.
The same thing will happen and no justice.
I'll tell you what, it has changed.
Because some people will benefit from it.
Yeah, but you have to know that it did change the police's attitude towards people on the street, right? Because at that time you couldn't walk on the street in peace. You was harassed 24/7, especially in Brixton.
No.
Hold on. Listen.
Correct.
I live in Brixton for a long time, and I was in Brixton during the time when they were having these SPGs around, jumping out of vans and just arresting people and harassing people. The police call Starsky and Hutch, the two police officers we call them, arresting everybody, right? And then after the riots, now that sort of quietened down. They weren't so touchy-feely anymore. They weren't jumping on every corner. So we actually did change the police's approach in Brixton. They weren't that bully boys anymore.
Yeah.
There's no more bully boys.
Scuffles. I know. What I'm trying to say to you is I'm intertwining with this fire here. There was back in those days. There was scuffles. There wasn't this much violence. The violence that I saw after Mark Duggan, was over the top when the people started to benefit from it, and anarchists came out. They started mashing up places, raiding water, doing this, doing that, and even kicked the old man down. Now that was going over the top, and because of this, I'm now scared that, you see that bit where Theresa May found it difficult even to walk in her car, and she was scared that if these people came on, I mean, if there's a lot of them now, with chains and sticks and, God knows what, and shields to protect, her people, one shot of one of them, for example, if one of the guards of Theresa May shot one of them, then they will become a mass thing, because now people are infuriated by this fire, and some of them are going to lose their loved ones. Not just that, they're going to lose their houses, and where they're going to be moved out to. They made what I'm saying is they made promises. But they don't do their promises.
Yeah, but now we hear the government saying that they're going to do whatever it takes. They realise they're in a hard place right now. I think we should use that power that we have at the moment as a community, right, to start to demand now, right, and people want to see action taken. They can't just don't take any action, like make sure all the buildings. Are you going to take all the tower blocks down then, all of them in London, and build proper housing, right? They may do this, and they also might say, well, we're overcrowded, so let's start building outside of London. This is what I'm saying to you. It might be playing right into their hands as well. It might be what they wanted to do to get us outside of London, saying if you want rehousing, we're going to take all the tower blocks down, but it's going to cause a overcrowding.
Yeah, but then what's going to happen is these are two ways. Either now the government's going to capitulate. Capitulate means give in. Do you know the word capitulate is?
Yeah.
Terrors do. It's a jargon word. It means give in to the demands of the people. Not just this not just this Glendale fire. They're going to probably, hopefully, they're going to get caught, because you remember, no one gets away with it forever. No one gets away with it. So if they get caught now out and someone exposed that this fire, something had happened, people are going to capitulate. people are going to, the government will capitulate. Then, after this Glendale fire investigation finishes, they're going to start saying, well, we demand you to investigate the politicians that did it with young boys. Then they're going to ask, where is all this money, taxpayers' money, going to? So then they will demand for that. Where is all this taxpayers' money going to, and who is it benefiting, and why you're cutting left, right,
but
and
you also you've got to remember they spend £10 million.
But you know what? This media is so clever, because once they were talking about Ebola, then they moved on to another subject. You see how the English media plays with the status quo, because they're very clever. This country is very clever at, doing something. So they're going to do maneuvers about, and they're going to say, it's all right, maybe one person will go to jail, probably, but this is not going to end. And then people are going to really get infuriated. And when, God forbid, if another bad thing, I don't want to give anyone bad ideas, but if another bad thing breaks out, then I'm in trouble, because I fear that now. I heard that people were walking onto Theresa May, and the guards were ready, armed to the teeth with a gun. So they were ready. But if anything breaks out, and something happens, then obviously I'm going to be in the middle of this. And when I saw those riots, Brother Heru, believe you me, I saw things get out of hand. Maybe the Brixton riots was just scuffles and, they think the normal buildings, but they didn't go as far as raid out the waters and kick old women and, it was too much. Even there was men with sticks when my mom was driving a car and my brother was inside. And, the lady, my brother's wife, was pregnant at the time. And the big men with sticks, they were about to bang, but they let go. What about if something would have happened there and then? Because I'm vulnerable. If anything breaks out of this. So what I'm saying is that then they're going to force more laws. So there's two ways out of this. Either the people have to be cool and calm now because of the game they're playing. They have to be cool, they have to be calm, but there has to be raised many questions, not just this community station, but other stations. And they have to spread the word.
Okay.
Do you understand? If they don't be cool and calm, then there's going to be more laws and we're going to be, effed, basically, if I say, I don't want to use the full word, but we're going to be effed then, because I'm effed, I'm mashed up. At least you can defend yourself. Sister Dion can defend her, but or when someone punches mine, I'm finished. So, there's many, many ways we can talk about this, but we can talk to eternity. But hopefully it will change something. Hopefully people will come out and people will investigate more. And hopefully that these people, some of these who try to lie and who try to decoy, because I know after this, they're going to be left homeless, some of those survivors.
Okay.
And where they're going to go? Where they're going to go? Are they going to go to homeless shelter, hostel? Where are they going to go? To ask the question. Let your listeners answer. Where they're going to go? Hostel, homeless shelter?
Okay, right, Bertrand. I want to thank you for your interjection. I'm going to move on. Thank you very much. Enough respect.
Thank you, Bertrand.
Yeah, you're in tune to... Yeah, go on.
Bertrand raised a very important point. The media response to the fire. The way they were asking questions, the way that they were dismissing and sometimes contradicting people who were actually in the building and saw things about the fire, the response of the fire brigade. According to the media, they said it was there within 6 minutes. According to a resident, they were not. Okay, they were not active. They were on site. One was on site, but they did nothing for a long, long, long time. Now, the interviewer actually says, no, they were on the scene at 6 minutes. He said, they didn't do anything. What's the point of being on the scene? How are we feeling about that now? Welcome. You're live on genesisradio.co.uk.
Yeah, hi. I just want to reinforce some of what Bertrand was saying. It really isn't the time for rioting. It is the time to educate yourself about where you actually live, your history, and everybody can be an investigator and check out stuff. And you have to check the media. The media played the same game. All of a sudden, everybody was reading the same script. Cladding. Yes, cladding.
Yeah.
Now, you must know when a fire goes, they have to have fire investigators to go in to find out where the fire started. That hasn't been done yet. It just has not been done yet. They haven't even cleared the building out yet. The fire officers have to write a report. It started in the boiler room, or it started blah, blah, blah. But there's always an epicenter where something started. But it was like 9/11. Oh, when 9/11 happened, oh, Bin Laden. All the hallmarks of Bin Laden. Nobody investigated anything, but the media told you who it was. Yeah. Since when are they experts? And who are these experts that they're bringing forth saying that they're experts? I just think it's time that people kind of have to reflect. If you've got your internet, look at some of what ordinary folk like you are saying and discussing, and get wise and get educated. An uneducated mass can't do anything. It was Caesar when he went to Gaul and eventually conquered Asterix and brought him to Rome. Asterix had at his disposal his own home turf. Caesar had 40,000. Asterix, I'm saying Asterix, Vercingetorix. I'm thinking of Asterix is the French cartoon, really talking about Vercingetorix. Vercingetorix had 125,000. Now 40,000 against 125,000, wow. But an organized and educated and well-trained mass, army, if you will, can defeat a horde of emotional, on home turf. It really is a time to get wise about what you want from your politicians, how you vote. Start from scratch. Labour ain't for you, Tories ain't for you, none of them for you. But if there's a policy that you like, then you use your media to say, we're going to vote for that policy. At this moment in time, it's freedom of speech. I'm not quite sure about Theresa May, but I'm not into the personalities. This is bigger than personalities, or this person here who's here now at front. What you need is a tough Brexit, and you want them to divorce or away from the freedom of speech law, the EU ECHR law, which takes away your freedom of speech and expression and so forth. It's a time to kind of reflect and get educated, because I hear what Heru was saying about things change. Things didn't change, because no matter when they've been deaths in custody. Mm-hmm. This thing went up like the proverbial bonfire. They do what they want to do when they want to do it, because we're not educated, and we're busy talking about who's light skinned and who's not really black. Come Christmas, you're in a Kwanzaa. You're nitpicking at yourselves over foolishness, and it really doesn't make much sense to me. It's a war against all of us, and divided we fall. And we fall because we're not really we're not educated. We're not on the real thing, and we're eating stuff that they're putting in supermarkets. You don't have, there's a video going on around about milk, cow's milk, and it's terrible. And some of the food, you don't know how these people treating you like idiots. And they know full well that, what went on the other day, and a minute, immediately Theresa May is talking about our restrictions on the internet. I'm like, what's that got to do with what just happened? What is that? What is the internet got to do with what just happened?
Okay.
You don't want to come with a law. This is prior to the election. She really lost the thing. She couldn't have worked harder to lose the election.
Yeah, Reece, could you wrap up with your point, please? Because we want to get someone else in on there.
Yeah, sure. I'm done. I'm just putting it in there. And I was just saying, get educated, understand exactly where you are. It is a Christian realm, and this Christian realm protects all. It really does. They don't want you to have it because they don't want you to know the power of it. And even in the Crown Court, Dieu et mon droit. That means the judge abide under God's law, the Ten Commandments, and you should tell the truth in the court. I know about the Law Society and all of that business, but that's a different argument.
Yeah, man.
But I'll leave it there.
Enough respect. Yeah, you're in tune to Genesis Radio, the People's Talk Show on this sweltering day, and of course the tragedy that we have been talking about, not because it's the only topic at the moment, but it affects us in all sorts of ways. We want to see how far it affects us. It affects us as well, looking at our own safety in our own buildings now, and we're also traumatized. The community has been traumatized at the moment. because we want to know how they're getting on, how they're getting through, and we feel part of them because
Here's a suggestion. This comes from 235. He says the people should hold their own public inquiry where those who were affected can get their voices heard, maybe in documentary form. What do you think about that for a suggestion?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's going to be a lot of anger. You know, when the people hold their inquiry, because right now the people are upset, and because they've got no accountability. No one's taking any. I mean, at the moment, probably it's a bit early for anyone to take any accountability because of the investigations that's going on. Fine, that's cool. At least we know.
Welcome, you're live on genesisradio.co.uk.
Greetings, I've come back again.
Yeah, man. No perspectives.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes when I hear certain callers talking, I think we have a really low view of ourselves as people, you know. I hear things like, oh, well, we shouldn't riot and we shouldn't do this, as if people are stupid. If we're going to link this to what happened at Glenfield Tower, I think what the community showed is that they are very capable of thinking on their feet and getting things done. It took almost a week for that Theresa May to pledge $5 million, to the survivors. Within like a matter of days, the community had already raised like $1 million and then some for the survivors, for the victims of that fire. Mm-hmm. It was the community that came together, got clothing, food, and all sorts of other supplies. They organised themselves. Yeah, they were out on the streets organising themselves, getting it from one community centre to the next. I mean, we're more intelligent than we give ourselves credit, you know.
True.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, and as for the young people, I would say that they're already very intelligent. They're more intelligent, I would say, than youths of, say, 20, 30 years ago. Maybe that's down to the fact that they've got so much information at their fingertips. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But if you talk to the average young person, they're quite intelligent. They know what is going on around them.
That's right. And God to know how many young people died in that fire.
I wouldn't even like to think.
You know what I'm saying? Because some people can't find their children. You know, it's like, so what we do now as a community, recognize that power, what we got in it. We got the power, but, you know, how to utilize it, and prepare ourselves not to take any nonsense from them anymore.
Absolutely.
Because we know, we don't know the thing, we're aware. And if it is a conspiracy, a deliberate social cleansing, right?
Which I feel it is, yeah.
You feel that it is, right? And if we can find the people responsible for this this idea of social cleansing that can start a fire, then that brother in the flat who says his flat, it started in his flat, then he would have to be part of the conspiracy, wouldn't he? I don't understand this. You know what I'm saying to you? I don't want to say things, but you know, if it is a social cleansing, then we got the bread. I'm not going to say anything, but I would have to find out.
I know what you're saying, but okay, let me play devil's advocate here. Even if that guy was complicit in it, we don't know how or whatever, but even if he was, just for argument's sake, complicit in it, does that take away the fact, or does that take away from how that building went up like it was a piece of paper?
No, but it will pinpoint the conspiracy to do this, knowing that it would go up like a matchbox, right? And that brother would have to, that person or something would have had to start the fire deliberately. You see what I'm saying? Knowing that it's going to go up like a matchbox, they would have probably worked it out. I'm not saying I'm accusing anyone, but if I'm talking to those who believe it's a conspiracy or social or ethnic or social cleansing, then that person would have to have been involved in it. So we would have got the man anyway, because they would know who that person is, if he was a resident of that flat or not. They would know who lived in that flat.
I don't know, you know. I don't know. I feel like you can put the right conditions in place, and then whoever inevitably, because fires do happen, whoever inevitably one day has a fire, you know what the results are going to be. I don't think that particular individual had to be in on it. I'm not ruling it out.
Well, then it can't. Well, then it can't be a
I'm
conspiracy.
not ruling it out, but I'm just saying it doesn't necessarily have to be that person was in on it.
Then how else can the fire start? If it is a conspiracy, well, I'll
tell you how. Right. If there's a thing, if the TMO, the contractors and the council, the people that were using these materials, they conspired amongst themselves that they want that prime land that particular building sits on. I'm sure they're eyeing up other buildings as well, But let's just look at this one for argument's sake. And they decide, right, one way or the other, something needs to happen. We want that land. We've already promised it to wealthy developers. They can create the correct conditions for that to happen. So, for example, they put up a flammable bit of cladding, They leave exposed gas pipes around the place. They ensure that the fire alarms aren't working on that, aren't working.
So they were waiting for...
But then they wait.
Oh, so it's waiting for a fire.
Someone to inevitably have an accident, and then, boom, it happens. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, wow. Hold on.
Heru's struggling with the idea that people plan.
No. I'm saying no. I'm trying to look at it, right? Because I mean, Reece already spoke about the Fire of London. You see what I'm saying to you? The Great Fire of London, that was started deliberately.
That was.
You see what I'm saying? Whether it's to get rid of the Black Plague, as some people say it was. Christopher Wren, wasn't it?
Construing what I'm saying here. I'm not saying that it wasn't started deliberately. I'm agreeing that, yes, it was started deliberately. But I'm saying it may not be that one little neighbour that took it upon himself to start it. He may have genuinely just had a fire, but because bigger forces around him created the right conditions
for it to go up like a matchbox.
To go down.
Yeah.
When that accident occurred, it really did go down.
Right. So you're saying then they're making the way... preparing the way for that, so if their fire does happen, then the worst...
It's going to go up.
It's going to go up there, right?
It's not going to be contained.
That's it. You can manage a crisis if you like. You can manage it. You can create the right conditions for it. Like I said,
that means fire...
exposed gas pipes.
So
make sure that there's not the right fire measures in place.
But how did they get away?
Fire extinguisher.
Yeah, but how did they get away with the safety checks? Surely, if there were had a risk assessment.
But if it's something that they want
a regular
to happen,
risk assessment.
It's something they want to happen, all of that can disappear.
All right, so we can follow that up, right? Because if the risk assessments and the regular checks, safety checks, were done on a regular basis, which I do believe. For a high rise, you should have a...
You're missing the point.
Residents Association were complaining about. The blog is there for anyone to see. They've been complaining for years that inadequate risk assessments have been done, that inadequate fire measures have been put in place. They were simply ignored because, they're poor people, they don't matter.
So how did they get a certificate then?
Who's listening?
But how did they get a certificate of safety? That block then would be...
This is what I'm saying. In my previous call, I said... the building regulators, the contractors, the TMO, all of them have got something to answer for, because if they didn't directly do something, they blatantly turned a blind eye.
Well, they should go...
What happens when money and profits come before human life?
Oh, hold on.
When profit is the master of everything,
hold on,
and all you're looking at is profit, you're willing to play pennies with people's lives.
Yeah, so that moves the blame away from the government a bit, right?
No, it doesn't.
Well, hang on a minute. But check it this way. Hang on, 1 sec though. The government can easily say then, if they gave the running of the building over to these various companies, right, and they didn't follow through the safety checks and all the regulations which they gave them, and they never maintained that regular, as you said, then they are the ones to go to jail.
But that's what's going to happen anyway.
All those
we can safely say that nobody in the government is going to go to jail or is going to be taken to task for this, They're going to quite easily point the fingers back over to the local authority, to the TMO, and to the contractor riding.
Which should be right. In a sense, it should be right. Well, that's right, though, isn't it?
Well, the government know about the drive.
You're answering your own question, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking,
Reece was saying that they actually have think tanks that... decide how this thing's going to go down, where they're going to cleanse, what they're going to do. Well, Reece said it. You weren't paying attention.
I know what he's saying, but I mean, is there such a place, a thing, though?
He mentioned the name of the people who they pay to do it. He mentioned the actual name. I was going to ask him to repeat.
Oh, what? Sorry, Ryden.
Is it Ryden?
Yeah, that's the contractor, the subcontractor. Because what they do...
Not the contractor. Not the contractor. You know when they're going to come in and they're going to re-gentrify an area?
Oh, what, the developers, when they're talking about how...
There's a specific company that Reece said that the government goes to and says, right, okay, we want to regenerate this area here. And if everything comes a cropper, then they create a manufactured incident which affects the lives of the people who are in the area. If they're not moving fast enough, if they're not complying with what they want, if they're tight-knit and they're holding together and saying, well, no, this, and this, and we want to stay here, then what they will do is create an incident to cause the effect that was had at Glenfield. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand and I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I believe has happened here. They've been, and not just in that area, it's been happening all over London. For the longest time, they've been talking about regenerating all of these estates. And what that means is that they will basically push out most of the social renters and replace it with, buildings that they will sell to rich people and buildings that will be what they call affordable rent, which is affordable to no one but the wealthy. So it's just a way of socially cleansing all these areas of London. Now, if you think about it, that particular area is the wealthiest borough in London. And for the longest time, they've been eyeing up all this prime land that poor people are sitting on. What are they doing there?
Yeah, because, sis, that kind of reminds me of Brixton, right? If you notice, from Cole Harbour Lane, if you come across the McDonald's, what used to be, a KFC, Cole Harbour Lane, the beginning of Cole Harbour Lane, yeah? All that point around that area is wealthy, right? And coming right down to where we call the, going up towards the Green Man, it's all ghetto, yeah? You know what I'm saying? And going around there, I'm thinking to myself, gentrifying stops right at the Cole Harbour Lane traffic lights there, because the rest, you say onwards, round that Angel Town, round that ends there, it's all ghetto.
Yeah, which is what they do.
And I'm thinking...
And then if the rats don't kill themselves, they'll help them.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I don't mean to say that people are rats. Please don't misunderstand me.
So
I'm just saying that remember, it's all a social experiment that they're enacting on us, and we're the pawns in it. So therefore, we are expendable. The pawn's always the first to go.
Of course we're expendable. Of course we are.
And because we're ignorant, which I must agree with Reece on, I don't usually agree with him, we are all ignorant. We're all in a state of high anxiety because of the bills.
Because the reason why we're ignorant is because we've been whipped up to this frenzy. We have all sorts of little groups going around, whipping us up to some sort of a frenzy that don't even, some imagination that don't exist. Making us ignorant, We should. That's why we try to get we try to get knowledgeable. We do try.
Reece is cynical because of this self-same reason. It's not down to the group in that sense. It's down to each and every individual to do their own research. Okay, once we've all done our research...
individual, but also there is a strength in people collectively coming together, because I heard him talking about freedom of speech. Well, again, linking it to this incident, the residents were exercising their freedom of speech at every twist and turn. They've been shouting at the top of their voices, this is wrong, that's not right, this is going to create a fire hazard, a tragedy will happen. And they've been saying it for years. They exercise their freedom of speech, but who was listening to them?
Well, no one.
And this was the residents coming together.
But what I'm saying
they set up a body.
Did they have the... This is where the mass is there and there is a unity, but the information legally... They were still probably getting it together on how to do it. Do you see what I'm saying? They could have taken it on as a cooperative. They could have all put together and found a way to do that and to have a legal framework around it, because cooperatives have a lot more power than tenants associations.
Most definitely. They're tenant-led for a start. So, yeah, that probably is the way forward.
That is the way forward.
A lot of the reason why they couldn't go forward and really challenge the TMO and the local authority on what they were saying is because, of course, because of all of these stupid legal aid cuts, they weren't able to use legal recourse because there's no access to legal aid on most housing issues now. Back in the day, they would have been able to mount a legal challenge or maybe had a judicial review. But since now they've made all these legal aid cuts, they didn't have that option. So they had freedom of speech, but they couldn't exercise power. And this is the point I'm making. It takes a bit more than just freedom of speech.
Yeah, that's what I'm agreeing with. This is where it's like it's imperative to be informed, to educate yourself. If one person was looking at it from this angle, another from another angle, and everybody put their heads together, they could maybe do it themselves. There's so much information out there.
Yeah.
There's so much information out there, but if you keep complaining, and we all know complaining gets you nowhere. Unless you,
that's right.
It does. That's not true. If you know how to use the power of words, it does. That comes under education.
Well, put it this way. But they've been
and using effective procedures.
Yeah, but they've been complaining for the longest of time, which is good because it's been recorded. You know what I'm saying? So and the government or the contractors, right, who didn't or the council that was slow to implement any of the complaints or sort it out now has to take responsibility. You see what I'm saying?
They need to take responsibility.
Well,
but you know what? Papers are going to go missing. It always happens that way when things like this goes down. Papers go missing.
You know that they're shredding papers right now. Everyone is covering their backside.
Papers are going to go missing. What would have been beneficial in hindsight had the residents known, and for any residents out there that's maybe going through the same type of thing. So the thing to do is to get together. It is hard. It is tough. Everybody's Everyone's under austerity. Is to get an independent assessment.
So you're telling me that
they did actually. They did.
The
Residents Association got an independent assessment, Sister Dion, and again, in fact, this was when the wicked local authority took or threatened to take legal action against them. They should have done it, terrorising them with their own lawyers.
Yeah, but they should have gone to court. Then let the court get an independent one.
Hang on.
Easier said than done, though, if you haven't got the funds to do that.
Yeah,
but have the legal aid, but...
Yeah, what you're trying to tell me is that the government's going to turn around and say, oh, we've lost the papers. Is that what you're going to say to us? And you're going to expect us to, you're really saying...
It's been done before.
No, so hang on a minute.
It's been done before.
I know, hang on a minute. So you're going to tell me that there's people going to come and say to the inquiry, oh, we can't find the papers, and that's going to be acceptable by people?
Well, they luckily
it's not going to be acceptable. They
astute,
can't do that.
The astute tenants association have it on email, and that's the only good thing about virtual life.
They can't come with that.
It never goes once in there.
They cannot come with that. Now, I'm telling you, they cannot come. They can't.
They can.
I mean, like how we're discussing it now.
Even if the contractors get fined,
no, they won't go.
No, they get
jail.
Yes, go on.
No, but it's like now. We're discussing it now, and the people are fully aware of it now. There's no way a government can come around and say, "Oh, we've lost the papers," and expect to have a easy ride.
You'd be surprised.
No, come on, we're not. I know we're.
So what they do,
I know we're ignorant, but we're not that ignorant.
They disrupt the process.
Yeah, what they do, they disrupt the paper trail. They disrupt it, and
yeah, but we know that
they all sort of. They rank and file. They hire one another.
But we know this already. That's what makes it worse.
Because what will happen is, the fish got damaged.
Even if that particular contractor gets fined or whatever, because, we're kind of like wishing on a star that any one of them chief executives there are going to get sent to prison. I hope that happens, but, it may not happen. But even if they get fined, for example, all that company will do is set up a new company in a different name.
But it can't get fined because their life is lost here. It's not a matter of just being fined. It's negligence. It's corporate. We're going into corporate law here.
But I'm saying for the wealthy, there's lots of loopholes for them to slide down. This is how it's been done in the past. This is how they cover their backs. That particular company may be fined or whatever, and it gets a black mark put against it, but then they simply reappear under a different company name, maybe a different
different
circumstances.
This though.
Is how they do it. They evade. And
but this is not your run-of-the-mill little bad job. Hold on, bad job crisis. This is people's lives that we're talking about, and we're talking about negligence.
It's still the same thing.
No, negligence.
There has been bigger cases of negligence. Look at even that. The Hillsborough disaster. How many years did it take for them to get their inquiry?
Yeah, and who was held responsible for it?
Nobody.
Yeah, good question. Who was held responsible for it? What happened?
So you see, it's moot point. Oh yes, now the police were said to be less than they should have been. That they've actually lied, okay, and they locked the police. The police locked the gate. Okay, so if you look at that, the police locked the gate, and the people who lost loved ones and who died in there didn't get justice for how many years? These people had to put their money, their time, their energy together to get their own inquiry going, and they were successful. And that's where it's going to be at for people now.
Yeah, well, we'll be successful. I think they definitely will be, and they won't escape. I don't think personally that they're going to escape this one.
I hope, you know what? I really hope you're right. I really hope, because in this situation, people seriously need to be brought to justice. Right. It was such a horrific and such a bad... I've never seen anything like it. I really haven't.
Okay,
children, babies,
all gone,
people that have been burnt to ashes in their own home, and it could have all been avoided. It was deliberately done. I don't care what anyone says.
You reckon it was deliberately done? Yeah.
I really do believe that.
Heru is smiling. He finds it hard to believe.
Knew that it was very likely to happen because, and another reason why I say this, is not to say that they didn't have a report telling them exactly the same thing that we're saying, that this could happen again. It happened at Larknall.
But yours,
and the recommendations, there was a whole list of recommendations. One of them was that every cell block should have a sprinkler system.
Yeah, but
they never put no sprinkler system in place. In fact, the minister sat on that report. He sat on it.
Yeah, but sis, we go back to that point again. If you're saying, we sort of muddy the waters a bit, if you're saying that it's done deliberately, what are you saying? The fire was started deliberately, right?
Sister already said that the conditions were orchestrated. Right. That's the word.
Okay,
the conditions were orchestrated.
The building was rigged to ensure that something like this would happen.
Right. That's what I want to make clear.
Yeah, it was orchestrated.
Yeah, fine, but because when you say deliberate, like a man strike a match or something,
you're going a bit too.
But that is deliberate. But if you're rigging something, that's a deliberate thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but the actual fire wasn't deliberate, though.
Of course, it was orchestrated, meaning that every single thing was down to plan. It's like
what, even the fire?
Of course.
So the fire was lit deliberately. Then?
Well, it could have been that the man struck a lighter and the thing blew up.
Well,
it would have been.
That isn't deliberate.
No, but it's not about the deliberateness of the man. We're talking about what's been orchestrated.
I know that, but what I'm saying, so you got to make a bit. I asked for clarity.
You can't make the distinction between one and the other.
You have to.
He would be innocent of actually physically lighting the fire because he didn't know that the thing was rigged.
So that's not deliberate. So he couldn't have done it deliberately.
Himself, you mean?
Yes.
Like set the fire.
The fire couldn't have been started deliberately.
Well, again, when things are orchestrated...
I don't know if
when things are orchestrated, you don't know what's what.
I don't know if he was in on it. I can't say.
Right.
You can't say.
But I do know, going by, everything... The way that the structure, the way that the building was basically neglected, the things that should have been in it that weren't there, and the timing of everything. Remember I said that 4 days before they got these visits, and they actually checked the alarm system. If they checked the alarm system, how come it wasn't working? All things like that.
Or it was working at that point, and then some person switched it off. That's not impossible either.
No, it's not impossible.
It's not impossible because we have people who don't necessarily speak good English, and I'm not
switched it off.
Well,
like it's a light switch.
Well, it is. well, it is because come on, seriously,
switched it off.
Yeah. There has to be a master one.
Well, not where everybody can see.
Well, obviously,
surely.
no. Only the people that would work in that electrical kind of thing would know where to switch it off.
Deliberately.
It might have been switched when you say deliberately. When it comes to orchestrating
your words,
something,
not mine.
Okay. When it comes to orchestrating something, it is planned down to the minutest detail.
Wow.
Okay,
that's true.
That's why I use that specific word, orchestrating.
They said that they've never had a visit like that before, which was very odd. Imagine you've been in that block for how many years, and this is the first time that people are coming to say, "Oh, we're doing fire checks." And they said that they're checking the fire system. Well, I mean, if they checked it 4 days prior, you would think that the fire system would be working.
Right.
And a tower block like that with no fire extinguishers, or maybe there were, but they weren't enough.
They're not going to be effective.
No fire extinguishers. And remember them hoses that would be attached to the tap, the landing? Mm-hmm. I don't even think they had that.
Now, so that was a risk already waiting to happen. This is what I was talking about. When it's orchestrated, it's like an orchestra. You don't hear bum notes in an orchestra. Okay, you have the string section. You have
if we can work
sections.
it out, yeah, but if we can come to that conclusion, then the whole community, the people can come to the same conclusion, right?
Orchestrated.
Well,
yeah.
You'll find that people in the ground, people in that community, already strongly suspect, and they're already calling out and saying, "Look, this is all strange," you know.
Yeah, I heard a big official calling for corporate manslaughter.
So he would call for that, but that's the thing.
And people should go to jail, he says on this one. So,
who was that? Lampy, that MP.
Yeah, that MP.
Lampy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know
well,
what I
the
mean?
thing is, the difference between the conspiracy theorist and the orchestration. This is why it can't be one specific person that goes to jail, although there should be. All of them should go from the government downwards.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But it's never going to happen because it's orchestrated.
It was a first for everything, isn't there? Surely.
There is a first.
Right, so you never know. This might be the first.
But what we're going to do, right, is there going to be like this petition that they had when Brexit was there? We're going to say Theresa May go to jail.
Well, let's say.
Just saying.
They'll find a way of getting away with pointing the finger to the least amount of people that they can get away with.
That's right.
That's what they'll do, because that's what they do. They cover their backs at the end of the day.
Okay, sis.
And you know, when you're all responsible for you know, and you've got blood on your hands, you're all really culpable, but you're covering up for one another because you know that you played a part in it. Yeah. So you can't really point the finger too tough because you know that you yourself had something to do with it too.
Okay,
so
all right.
It's just going to be a massive cover-up, but we'll probably get one or two people.
We shouldn't get cynical about it. We should actually maybe try focusing on the fact that someone is going to jail for it.
Okay,
this time.
They need to go to jail for it.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say as well, the building regulator, they were aware of how dangerous that cladding was because in countries like Dubai and even in Australia, buildings with that cladding have also gone up in a similar way. And Dubai, I think the one in Dubai, the building was actually 73 stories high. So if you think 24 stories is high, try 73, you know? But because they at least had sprinkler system and certain fire measures in place, no one died in that fire. Yeah? Okay. So that's how I end it.
All right, nice one, sis. Enough respect.
Okay, all right.
Thanks. Yeah, you're in tune to Genesis Radio. Numbers are 07931 27 62 and 32. And I repeat, 07931 27 62 and 32 will bring you into the studio. So what we have here, we're trying to make sense of all of this, whether the contractors or the immediate government are in charge or responsible for it. We've got some texts.
This is from 019. It says, they burned down the Grenfell block to force our people out of the area. So it's obvious from the very upset about it. Obvious, I'm very upset about it. I have peeps that were caught up in the building. One survived, the other died. People around the area who was also saying the firefighters was just standing there chilling while people burnt. It was the Muslim community that did what they could to get people out. They came 2 hours.
Go ahead, you're live on Genesis. People's Talkshow.
Hi.
Greetings.
Hello?
Yes?
Is that the Talkshow?
Yes, that is.
Hi, I'm Paul Phoenix. I live in Lewisham. I heard the lady speaking earlier on about the buildings and the understandable fears of people who are living in high-rise buildings.
That's right.
Well, one of the problems that really, truly, that hasn't been mentioned is the difficulty in talking, not to people in central government, but to the local councillors. Mm-hmm. That's an amazing difficulty in talking to them, to getting them to understand the concerns that people have, because a lot of the local councillors, particularly the planning department, just don't listen to people at the grassroots. And that's one of the major problems. It's okay slagging off the rich. The rich is there. Why they're rich? Because they know how to accumulate money, how to save money, how to make money. The local government are the people responsible for looking after the welfare
of the communities in their care. They are the people who have got to answer these questions. Now, I discovered also that these panels are banned in America, they're banned across Europe, and it's also alleged that they were banned in this country. So why did the planning department in that borough give permission for these panels to be used?
Well, let me tell you why.
Who were the people who gave the permission?
Okay.
Who were the companies who should have known that these panels were banned, and why were they allowed to be used?
Okay, stick a pin. Now, that could easily be said by saying that we know who's responsible for the caretaker, but because of the austerity cuts, they were forced to use cheaper material. You see what I mean? So
but they were banned.
Yeah, but I know they were banned, but because they didn't have any money, I suppose they still went ahead with banned material because they got their.
What I'm saying, that's besides the point. The point is they were banned, so consequently, it was illegal to use that material anywhere. So some person in local government sign a docket, sign an invoice or whatever they sign to get things to go through, sign a piece of paper that allowed that company to use that material.
Yeah, but you got to remember,
any person who works at any level in local government who is responsible for making decisions should know whether or not materials have been banned in this country. There is no excuse.
Yeah, but you've got to remember also that the council did a lot of illegal things during the austerity because even when the banking, when they sent money across into different banks, which was illegal to do, but they.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch.
I was saying the local government was carrying on all sorts of illegal actions.
That's right.
During austerity cuts, right? Because they couldn't get any money, the money wasn't enough. So there was even banking in foreign bankers,
Icelandic
banks which was illegal. But because their excuse was
local governments have always done that. Local governments always take the money from central government and they're investing.
I know, but they did it illegally the last time to get more interest to because they were cut. The money was cut by the government. Right?
Because they've misspent it. They've misused
the money. So they said they haven't got the money to spend. So
that's besides what I'm saying. That's besides the point. If these items were banned, it doesn't matter if you've got half a penny. You are not allowed to use these items because they are banned. It's illegal to use these items. So the people who are responsible for pushing these items through, the people who gave permission that these items could be used, they are the people who should be taken to court.
All right. And then the people, when they do go to court, they're going to say the reason why we done it because the government cut our funding. So let them argue that out then.
But the thing is that
in the eyes of the law, that is not a reason.
Because the law states that it is a banned thing.
Yes.
So if you use a banned thing knowingly, because you would know if you are a contractor, if you are in local government, if you are in bigger government, whatever, you would know what's banned.
But that would look bad for the government if they went to jail, right? Because they had to make up because of the cuts, right? It would look bad on the government. If their local authorities had to go to jail because of their cuts.
Well, it's beside, you're missing the point. The point is
whether or not they've got the money. So it's irrelevant. The fact is that if these items were banned, it means that if you use these items, you are breaking the law.
Yes.
It's illegal
I agree.
to use these items.
I agree.
And local governments, a lot of local governments have got an attitude towards the local people who put them in power not to respond. I know this from experience. They do not respond to you if they don't want to. If you ask questions, if you ask embarrassing questions, they just put the phone down, they just turn their back and they do not respond. You can write as many emails as you like. They do not respond.
Okay.
And the move is to make local government more responsible to the people who put them in power. In other words, to ensure that they respect the democratic process.
All right, see what you just done there.
For getting them there.
You see what you just done there a minute ago. You said the people who put them in power. You see what I'm saying? So we have to go to the government. Now, when they put them in,
I was referring to local government.
Yes, but the local government are put there by the government, right?
No, the local government are put there by the people.
All right, but then under the auspice of everything's under the government auspice. You know what I mean? The whole shebang operates like that. You see what I'm saying? The local governments are just the stool pigeons of society.
No, they're not.
They are really because
local governments are very, very powerful. Don't make the mistake of saying the local governments are just dance to the tune of central government. No, they do not. Local governments have got an extreme amount of power, an enormous amount of power that should be exercised for the benefit of the people. So while, yes, we are right, we can challenge central government because of the austerity budgets or whatever have you, but we have also got to bring the local government to task to find out exactly who was responsible for giving the permission that allowed the contractors to use materials that were banned.
Okay. Well, you got a point there.
Where it is banned.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really and truly, yes, someone needs to go. Even if it's them that goes to jail, that'd be fine. That be just dealing with the problem again, allowing central government to escape any kind of responsibility, knowing that they cut.
No. There's not just one. There's not just one guilty party. There are a lot of guilty parties.
A lot.
But I think people have got to understand the power that rests within the local authorities. And an enormous amount of power. It ranges wide.
So this is
health, education, whatever have you. There's a lot of power that rests within the local authorities. Having said that, there are a lot of local councillors who work very, very hard to make sure that things do happen correctly, to answer questions put to them by members of the public. But they are a group of people who really feel that being in local government gives them a blank check to make money.
So this is why.
Now, that borough,
but I find it really.
Kensington and Chelsea is one of the richest boroughs in the whole of London. In fact, the whole country.
Yeah, but
what happened in that borough should not have happened at all.
Okay, but hear what? That's why when the elections were around, when we had this election, it was the same Tory party now, in power now, who was running that local authority, right?
That's right.
Right, and so when we had the chance to kick them out, I mean that wouldn't have stopped the fire anyway. I don't think, because
they did get kicked out.
No, of where?
Out of Chelsea and Kensington.
So
they got kicked out.
Okay, it's right, but how many years did they have that?
All endless ages. Always.
Right,
always.
So it's the Tory party that had that borough for so many years, with that flat in neglect, right? So they should be the ones that held the Tory party should be the ones that go to jail for that. Since they,
no, I mean, not the whole party.
Why not? The whole party.
We have to be specific where we lay the blame. Now, we have a chance to kick those people out of office this time round. Let's take this chance and say to them, look, we've had enough of your greed, of your double dealings. We've had enough of you. Goodbye.
And you know why?
Forget the right.
And you know why as well? There are a lot of people that keep influencing us, right, negatively about not voting. This is the trouble that we have in this community, especially in the black community. We listen to too many of these little diasporans, right, on telling us not to vote, and all the time we had the power. If you know what I mean, we could have kicked the Tory party out of that place years ago. You see what I'm saying? But look at it. We allow them to stay, and this is the result, isn't it? Neglect over X amount of years.
It's not just us.
Well, if we
in our community specifically, but like in general, there's apathy towards voting.
No, because of the negative influence, we don't realise how much power we do actually have. As you said, if the local authority has power, then how much more their constituencies and their people, which is made up.
I have to say that now. We're looking at the now. Let's look at the now. We have got the power. And hopefully there will be a next election soon.
Yeah.
And I think now is a chance for me to exercise that right to vote, which has been fought for. Many people have died for that right, and we shouldn't take it for granted. We should exercise that right And I'm happy to say that a lot of the youth in particular, and I want to take this time to big up a lot of the youth, because I was down near that building on Saturday, and I saw so many young people working so hard, in that community, and it really made me feel proud, the level of concern being shared by the youth. So I think we have to big up the youth in that community, not to mention the fact that their votes was responsible literally for changing the political face of history in this country.
Yeah.
Yes, enough respect for that.
Yeah.
So
To the young people.
Respect
whoop, whoop.
to the youngsters.
Indeed. For real, bro.
No. And I know they get a bad press a lot of times,
They do, don't they?
I think what I saw with my own eyes, and in fact, the majority of volunteers I saw on that day helping out were young people.
Wow.
And it was like, wow. The amount of
It made you, does your heart
who
proud.
came around offering support to the families who were grieving, were young people, and it was like, wow, this is really something. So if anything has come out of this tragedy, I would like to think that what has emerged from this tragedy is a hope.
Yes.
A hope for the future. And I think
a
lot of our youth are carrying the burden, are carrying the baton for the future. And I think we have to give them a lot of support, really and truly. But once again, thank you all very much.
Yeah, man, enough respect.
Bless
the part of time. Thank you.
To hear the views. And
yes, sir.
Let's hope.
Respect.
We've got a chance. There will be next election. We've got a chance to kick the money grabbers out, and let's have a proper party in place. And, I can't express my political views, but let's say the only party that comes to mind is Labour.
Yeah.
Okay. But being impartial, I am impartial, but let's think seriously about having a Labour government in power to put this country back on an even keel.
Okay, enough respect.
Okay, then give thanks for your contribution.
Yeah, thank you. My brother and sister, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're in tune to Genesis Radio.
Telephone numbers
07931 27 62 and 32. And I repeat, 07931 27 62 and 32 to bring you into the studios.
And on one of the reports I did happen to catch, on that time that I did look, a young European said all the gangs have put down arms to deal with this.
Really?
He said all the gangs have put down their arms, called a truce to get through it, and they were working.
Is that beautiful?
It's European saying that there's no gang warfare right now, no time for that. We are dealing with this situation here. They put together, they were bringing all including Chinese, Indian, black, white, Chinese, everybody laid down arms, and they were doing the works. He said that there were gangs who were going to shops and buying bottles and bottles of water and bringing them and putting them down in the street, as well as those members that were offering the water and the support. So there was a lot of youth participation and activity around that. So as the brother actually said, big up to our young people. They came through. They came through in the crisis.
I love that. And that's wonderful. So, again, you're in tune to Genesis Radio.
Yo, the boys. How's it going, Chris?
Hi, the boys. How you doing, bro? Everything, Chris?
I'm all good, man. Big up to both you in the studio today.
Yes, I.
You too.
Yeah, man. Welcome, sister. Bless you, man. Listen, this thing with the Glenfield flats, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, what the people are doing, who live there, and the wider community is spot on. What they want to do is they want to slowly push them out and disperse them. Now that's a community which is, bro. I give that community there, makes me proud, because that's the type of community we should have everywhere.
For real. For real.
And because they're in numbers and they're in agreement and they're walking and talking with each other, they're a force to reckon with, and the government sees that and they don't like it. So I'm saying that what they need to do with the other blocks that ain't burned down, it's not about, wanting to move out. It's about fighting their rights to make sure that sprinklers is put in and the necessary safety precautions is put into those buildings and make them stand there.
Yeah.
You understand me? Because if the thing on the outside of the actual flats wasn't up, that you might as well call it. They just put a whole heap of newspaper around it. Yeah.
Cladding,
if that newspaper weren't on there, that building wouldn't have burnt the way it burnt.
Interesting.
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, from they don't put them things up, leave the bare brickwork or whatever it is that's there that don't burn like paper, and make sure they put in the sprinklers and put in. Listen, on every block they should even have them bottles, whether it's foam or different bottles for different things. People them up here, them rent and them things for so long. You're telling me simple safety things like that can't be put in
for so long.
What we need to be pushing for, huh?
For so long.
Right.
It's been neglected for so long.
These are the things, bro. We as a community, because I'm looking to go down there tomorrow, so I'm going to go down there and, I'm just going to throw my 2 pence worth in and let the people them know, so listen, don't move. People. Because you have to understand, right there is Notting Hill, Kensington, Hammersmith, the whole around there. Listen, them no want them people around there.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm telling you, they must stay where they are. Because you see, give it another 2-3 years.
Okay,
they
that's
knock
what
down
you
that the one that burned out, and watch what they're going to try and build there.
Yes. You mean there was an eyesore to the rich?
Of course.
A reminder.
Listen, I live in Battersea, yeah? You see, around my immediate area, there's whole heap of high-rise, 23, 24 floors going up there.
Yeah.
But them building there, them make sure they got everything to their comfort. So why can't they do that for us?
State-of-the-art buildings around there. 9 Elms coming up round there, isn't it? Battersea.
Yeah.
Millionaires Playground.
Proper.
Millionaires Playground.
Proper. I can guarantee they won't have that problem of, fire escape. And they've got no cladding around their buildings, have they? You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
No. Trust me, and it's reinforced glass.
Yeah. I mean,
it's all glass houses.
Right.
They reckon they ain't got nothing to hide.
And I bet they're all heat-proof as well, those glasses.
Of course, underground heat in the lot, mate.
Apparently, in those flats that you're talking about, Dubwise, people pay to go to, I can't remember what building it is, which is opposite to some of the properties, to look in people's flats.
Really?
They pay to do it.
Really?
Yes. Wow. Yes. In and around, is it Vauxhall Cross, around that area. There are those big buildings there where the American Embassy is being opened very soon. There's this place that they can go into, and you can look into people's flats, and you can see them being active in their flats, in the sense that they're cooking, washing, cleaning, living life. I'm not talking about anything
perversion.
Else. No. But you can actually see it.
Wow. Look at that.
So they're still making money hand over fist, right? Ordinary people pay to go and watch them in their rich life.
Yeah, but the local authority, right, that had that building for so many years, I mean, they should be responsible for it as well anyway.
They are.
The thing is,
believe me, they're the first people that should have come out.
Yeah, for real.
The thing is, though, a lot of the buildings in London are unsafe. A lot of them, because it's only since they started to build the monstrosities and the glass buildings and things like that. That's because a fire chief told me, who came to assess my home, that places that are Victorian, because of the low maintenance by the local authority, they are tinder boxes. Literally, because they're made of lava and plaster. Okay, and on top of that, the flooring, the original floorings, they never changed them when people move in or move out. So you've got all that dry wood from the last century sitting in your house, sitting in your, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, but they're supposed to update their stock, innit? Because according to the European ruling, that's what it said. Europe's got some of the oldest stock blocks in housing still existing. You see what I'm saying to you? Not even modernise they don't want to modernise people's bathroom or kitchen anymore.
Well,
about they ran out of money.
When they're going to do that now, what they'll do is take the resident and put them way out behind God's back somewhere.
Really?
Well, yeah, it's the ethnic cleansing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the ethnic cleansing, but are you still there, Dubwise?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dubwise. This is your time.
Yeah.
You go.
So, to your opinion, who do you think should be held responsible straight away?
Straight away, the council, yeah, but also the government. Both of them go hand in hand. Both of them are working hand in hand. Yeah, and they're one hand in the next one pocket. And as far as I'm concerned, yeah, the first person you're going to look at is the local council. Yeah, because they've got this at arm's length thing that they got where this separate company runs the council stock here or those particular buildings. Now, I don't business. You see, when you're talking about contracts and contract law, if your name is on the company, so you own, Suffolk Council or whoever council.
Go on, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, sorry about that, my household man. Right, so because their name is on the actual, they're the owners of it. I don't care about no third.
Sorry, Sorry, Dubwise, a little technical hitch there. Go ahead.
That's all right, no problem. Yeah, so as I'm saying, I don't business like no third party intermediary. Yeah? They're the people who must stand up, yeah, and they must take responsibility. Now, the people went down to the town hall on Friday, and they sent a man with a letter to come read. How disrespectful! Even now, they haven't even stand up and said nothing. You understand me?
Yeah, it's out of order.
If I was them people, I wouldn't leave the town hall. Then would have to sleep in there tonight.
Yeah, for real. This is what the politics, and that's what the game is, isn't it? Got no respect, no respect for us as humans. We've got to deal with it. I want to thank you.
No problem. My last word on this is the people need to really come together. And we are coming together, bro.
Definitely.
We are. Through social media, man, I'm telling you, everybody's eyes is getting waken up.
Yes.
But we just got to continue that walk.
That's
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
We've got to continue that walk. Yeah?
Enough respect.
Boom. Respect.
All the time, Dubwise. Thank you very much.
Give thanks.
Yeah,
it is now.
Thank you, respect.
It is now 8:51 by that one, which is a bit early.
Which one?
17:43. That means it's almost 15 minutes to 6 o'clock.
5:44.
Yeah, 5:40.
Yeah. That's right.
It's 5:45.
That's
so
right.
If you have any last-minute comments, observations, ideas, beliefs around it, any clues at all whatsoever, then please do give us a call. The number is 07931 276232. And in the meantime, I'll finish the text that was sent.
Yep. Okay.
I'll start from the beginning because we lost it for about 15 minutes. Okay, people around the area was also saying the firefighter was just standing there chilling while people burn. It was the Muslim community that did what they could to get people out. They came 2 hours late. 2 hours late. Also, the firefighters, it started as a small fire. It took hours to spread. Media is bull. 500 people have died.
500 people.
In total. The media will not tell you, as they are scared of riot. They're scared of a riot. Okay. So that was from 019. 613 says could not receive message. Oh. Right. And 801 says, Heru, the truth is, the media seem to love when these events happen. You can just observe how they salivate and foam around the mouth with these incidents. It's nothing but media food for them.
Yeah, for real.
Did you know? Well, I was aware of that as well, and I thought maybe it's me because I'm not watching enough
Frenzy,
TV.
yeah.
It's like they're kind of like getting an immense amount of pleasure out of, and yes, they're about to come out now, and it's like, it's a bit yucky.
A bit tacky, yeah, for real. But that again, they're doing their job, innit?
It's a bit smutty. It's rather low.
Yeah, at a time like this. But again,
one last text to read. This is from 370. My glasses are steaming up. It's so warm in here. Hotep Genesis just tuned in. Great to hear Elder Heru and the Sista. This is very distressing, as I know people in this in this location. Right? Okay. I'm sorry, but it's utter nonsense to suggest that there was no money. Kensington and Chelsea is the richest borough in Britain, and a renovation exceeded £8 million just a year. Aesthetically pleasing interior superseded over the health and safety of people. So they said there was an £8 million renovation, maybe just last year.
10 million.
Different figures will be bandied around, but he said that the buildings were aesthetically pleasing and the interior was
unsafe.
Yeah. No, choosing to make aesthetically pleasing buildings and interiors over the health of people's safety.
I wonder how much if the whole of London was to catch fire.
Say that.
It will go up in a matchbox, mate. Trust me, because all these buildings I see, coming up in London makes you wonder. You see what I'm saying? So many.
And we're not absolutely certain of the building standards there either.
Yeah, well, I put it this way, we won't be in that city anyway, because you only go.
They're going to be putting us out to pasture.
And you know what? I don't even care. To be honest with you, they can send me as far as they want to send me.
Yeah, we can go back to some country living.
Anywhere I go is home, bro.
Do you think we could grow yam there?
We grow anything there.
The country?
We're glad to get out of their hair, because at the end of the day, they're still going to have to come to us. I mean, what are we saying about ourselves? Are we saying that we are, a class? And we're going to get together. Since we're a class, that class is averaging some £1 billion of spending money. We shouldn't be worried how they want to categorize us. They might categorize us as second class. Fine, but there's a whole heap of second classes, and we can see it happening now. If we spread this, instead of trying to spread hate and division and fragmentation, you know what I mean, and ethnicity. Look, we have to. That's my thing all the time now. That's why I said I grew up, and I come to realize that it is all. And I keep telling people, it's the unity of Osir. It is the unity of all men. That's what I strive for. I don't want to be ethnic and particular and segregative. You see what I'm saying? I look at the unity of all men. I know there's been problems in the past for all races, but the thing is how are we going to get on today? And if they keep us separated, if they can keep us fragmented and at each other's throat, then we will miss what they're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Because we're busy squabbling, but we're striving towards unity now, and we have it, and we're going to say, let's exercise it. Let's all come together, and whatever class they want to call us, if they call us the working class, the poor class, we don't give a hell what you want to call. I don't give a hell what you want to label me as, because I know my true self. You know what I'm saying? And from I know my true self, and you know your true self, you know that it will bring up that self-empowerment. And it shouldn't take disasters to for our communities to blend together. We know And again, it's the media hyping about certain communities that they have labelled certain community as hostile, and we can't seem to gel with each other because the media keep putting that in our face, that this particular group is about that, and this particular group, and this and that, gun crimes, and keeping us
knife crime,
keeping the communities,
pointing out the differences.
Yeah, instead of the similarities. You see what I'm saying? So we have to reach that point where we have to pull together, and as we're seeing this, communities pulling together, people are helping people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that is kind of wonderful what the brother was saying, and the report that I heard, that everybody called a truce.
Yeah.
In a moment of dire need.
Yeah. So is it going to take dire needs for us to call truces?
Well, why should there have to be?
You know what I mean? Let's use this one wisely.
Keep up the momentum.
Let's see and realise we should have continual community meetings. You know what I mean? Everyone. Then we should have community dances. You know what I mean? Where everybody comes together and dinner. And we listen to each other in each community puts forward their whatever their national interest is. And we're not saying that we can't have all different national interests because we belong to different groups, different countries, different land mass. You can hold your natural interest, but you don't have to ram it down people's throat now, do you? You know what I mean? And you just want to be bigger than me, and you're lording it over each other. That ain't going to happen.
Well,
now,
it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
It does happen, but it does not work. It's not something that is. And the worst thing is that communities can't actually wake up out of their trance and realise that.
That's a good word. Okay. Wake up out of their
trance. Wake up out of the trance. Look, all this fighting and hating and anger and you did this to me.
Get rid of that.
I mean, if it worked, why is it not successful?
Yeah. And it's funny enough when he's saying that. A brother was talking about spirituality and Christianity, how it's done nothing for us. You know what I mean? And calling it hocus pocus. And I'm thinking, yeah, but at the same time, what you're advocating ain't doing nothing for you as well, because you've been advocating the same thing for over 40 odd years. This what's called not practicality, we call it realism. Realism. You know what I mean? This reality, which they
there
think.
Is no reality.
No, well, the realism, as far as realism is, especially political realism, realism means you see it as it is and you deal with it accordingly. And because there's that kind of a.
That's a bit suspect.
You know what I mean?
A little bit suspect somewhere.
How can you want to be like that? Well, that's not desirable, surely. I mean,
well, if you're only dealing with one situation at a time at that point, what happens to the rest? You'll always be in that situation.
This is what I'm saying, because to want people to think that you're dealing with it as it is and as you see it. As you see it may not necessarily be good or right or correct. It might be an illusion. You see, so you're going to be dealing with an illusion in an illusionist way. But the thing is, if we encompass and think about spirituality, would have given him that wherewithal to because he said he's got a rough character, and he will probably excel on the battlefield. Army, you know what I mean, and anybody runs down spirituality, I have to defend it. So I'm just defending it. He said he will do good in war-like things. He doesn't give much for his own personality. So he was cussing down spirituality, and I said, look at that. The very thing that you need to give you the wherewithal, to give you the infrastructure to support certain behaviours that you need. Your own physicality couldn't give it to you. And you know what I mean. So you look at it. You haven't got it. You just told me you have to run from a certain kind of personality type, or you can only manifest in one personality type. And I said life doesn't always come through the fiery window. Life is not going to be a whole edifice of physicality. Sometimes you may need to have a martial personality to gain what you may want physical. I mean, you're in a war and things like that. And if you're leading your people to war and you don't have the infrastructure or the wherewithal that might be able to negotiate your way through, right? Then you just turn up to just bare physical. Then you will lead your people into permanent destruction because you don't have the ability, the wherewithal to take on the necessary personality type that needed.
Yet the young did. The gangs put down their own. So you see, the young people were performing a role that older people were not so much on, because from reports that we've had here on Genesis, it was mostly the young people who were interactive with the situation. The gangs all called each other and said, listen, no time for war right now. People are dying. I know people in this block. We're not going to be doing no fighting tonight.
Can you imagine if you were a gun-ho type? You say, regardless of the people, let's go and fight. We're going to meet down the road. We're going to kill. I don't care what's going on.
But what I'm trying to say is that...
Is that a good personality to have?
In these situations, we're aware of what gangs do and do to each other. But they said no. The leaders came together, and considering that they are that kind of personality,
they were able to come out of it though.
In a crisis,
because which is great, which is fantastic,
amazing.
And some of the older folks can't do this. They don't know how to. They think that the aggressive type is the only type, and the physical, as you see it, it's going to be done. That's how I deal with it. I think that's it.
It doesn't work all the time.
I mean, that might work sometimes.
Sometimes it does work.
Well, you know what I mean.
Sometimes it doesn't.
So, because of that, you have to have the capabilities
to move from one person.
Right. I'm not talking about schizophrenia. I'm not talking about schizophrenia.
No, there's nothing wrong with being. Because that would be different.
Yeah,
personality disorder.
No,
we're not
I'm not talking about a personality disorder here. I'm talking about the ability.
But that is that. But you know what? Funnily enough, you're saying that is a personality. If it's more destructive than it is helpful, it is technically a personality disorder.
That's right.
Not disorder.
Right.
I mean, Mr. European has used it as a disorder.
That's right.
But let's talk about the balance of it. If it's extreme to one end or the other, you get nothing. But the closer you get to the centre, the more you're able to switch.
Yeah, that's right.
Switch from one, you can be happy and laughing and then give orders in the next minute. And then you can be loving and sweet with a baby.
Right.
And you can go up to a man and
look at
disarm
Payanki.
him.
I always use Payanki as an example. Look at Payanki. Look what he did. He was chosen by the Queen Kentake. The women put him on the throne. And he was installed in instruction in the words of his mother. And he was a man of war, valor. You know what I mean? But he know how to balance that with this...
tenderness, the feminine energy.
You guess what I'm saying? The caring and when he went to war, you know what he did? He asked the opposition to surrender. Under favourable terms, He wasn't going to lord it over them. He was saying, I'm going to give you the favourable terms. So we don't have to go and kill you or you kill it or whatever, right? And I thought that because of his statesmanship,
to shape shift, to shift your. Not about a shift in personality.
Maybe shape shifting.
You know what I mean. I'm not speaking metaphorically, not in the sense of he could have held his position.
That's
now
right.
I own all of this.
But
you are going to die if you don't move. Okay, because this is my kingdom right here. But he was like, you know what? Live and let live.
Yeah, right. Will you surrender? And we'll give you favourable terms. But if they refuse to surrender now, it's another kettle of fish. He goes in and he wipes them out.
Well, come on. He's done everything humanly possible. He's been through all the personalities modes. He's checked himself. He's analysed himself. He's like, well, where else can we go with this? I've thrown down the gauntlet already. Surrender.
That's right. So it's these personality types that we don't say, well, I can't do this because it's not in me. When you say it's not in you, this is the way I am. This is the way I was born. It's
and you know what, Heru? The one you're born into is the one you need to challenge.
You need to get out of, the trance.
That's the one that gets us into so much trouble.
You know what I'm saying? It's the one that you're born into is the one that you have to become waken up out of, and to acquire other personality types. That, if our youths knew how to do this, and it shouldn't take a tragedy for us to be able to morph into what we are doing now. We should be able to do more morphing into.
Imagine.
Accept your own and be yourself. Genesis Radio thanks you for your visit.